Okay, I think we're live. I think we did it, boys. We did it, boys and girls.
Yeah.
I believe we are live.
Excellent
live?
connection. There
Excellent
we go.
connection.
There
Okay.
we go.
Holy shit, son. This was one hacking ride, one hell of an adventure. Huh?
It's so crooked.
Why is it so... Jerry, do you want to fix it for us? Holy shit. What the shit is going on? This is just pure awfulness.
Oh my god. The most unprofessional of unprofessional podcasts conducted here in the Longkang, where we can't even show the logo without blocking. Let me just shit.
And then we got to...
Are we live already?
We are live. We are live.
Okay.
Now people need the link. Oh my god. We are just totally...
No, that's down. Wait, it's down there.
Oh my god. Okay. Copy the link. We gotta give it over to the people in Discord. Where is Discord?
Just click the remind me later.
Man, we are just the epitome of Natalie Chan. Pesto. Gold. Is it even if you don't fuck it up a little bit? Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. So we are live.
We are alive.
We are live. The show is live.
I'm barely alive.
Okay. Blog user, hello. Okay.
Who? Oh, hi.
Got a few people in already.
Our most loyal listener.
Almost
Too early, man. Too early.
Yeah, it's too early.
2:30 p.m. is too early.
I had like 4 hours of sleep last night. This is too early to be alive.
It's very hot out there.
Yeah.
Yes. Lie down. Okay,
Wait,
let's clip
2 hours of sleep, 4 hours of sleep last night because you're preparing for the workshop.
No, just because like so I had a workshop this morning and the workshop is at 10:30. My usual sleep time is 3 a.m. to 4 a.m. So I had to wake up at 8 o'clock to get ready, bathe, go all the way to Toa Payoh. So 4 hours. My brain is not braining right now.
That's okay. No one is braining right now.
But it's the Longkang, you know, it's the LongKangKitties.
Everyone is fucking up. This is the typical state of the show. Okay.
Check us out in our new Longkang.
New gig, new crib.
Can we show like a close up of Jerry's face? We have like an extreme close up of Jerry's face.
Jerry looks like he's calling in from a Zoom. It's like,
yeah. How do you?
Hey,
like
how is it over there, Jerry? How is it?
I cannot hear you. I cannot hear you.
Is the mic on? Is the mic on?
On? Can you guys hear me?
Is the mic? Hello. You know what would be really great right now? What would be really great is if one of your cats like come into the Zoom and then like start like rubbing itself all over the camera.
They are
all sleeping.
hidden, don't know go where. Just now they were active running around here.
One of them is sleeping there. The other one is in the office. And
I think
the
John
orange one is in the wardrobe.
I think John just terrifies them because he's so large.
No, that's not true. Okay, that's not true. Brownie loves me.
Brownie loves everybody.
Brownie,
you're not special.
Brownie was walking around.
Anyways, are you gonna
Brownie
do that?
doesn't love you, okay? okay, let's introduce the show. Hello, and welcome everyone to another episode of LongKangKitties Live. This is John Wong, your most handsome non-transgender man ever on the face of the planet. We have Angie.
Hi.
After 4 hours of sleep.
Hi.
And then we have Jerry joining us all the way from Timbuktu. Jerry, can you hear us? Jerry?
Hello, Jerry.
Maybe wait. Hang on. Give me.
Yes, just tap the camera. That'll fix your audio. And then let's see. The library thing. Okay, so hi Ron. Library thingy 3 a.m. That's way too early to sleep. What is this sofa casting?
I know. We are like on the casting couch, the literal casting couch.
Okay, where is Spencer's friend Dan Wong? Okay, Dan Wong. What has happened to Dan Wong?
Dan has unfortunately mired himself in some real deep shit.
I think I think he got into some Yakuza shit.
I think what happened is that Dan Wong accidentally wandered into a massage parlor, and then they were fiddling about with his bao yan, his chrysanthemum, too much, and then there was like a giant spillage accident.
Then turns out the lady who gave the massage is the mafia boss
wife.
Wife or girlfriend.
Yeah.
Then,
actually, more likely his girlfriend. Wife wouldn't do this kind of shit.
Yeah, that's why it's like
it's the side
girlfriend.
piece.
Yeah.
The side piece.
Then he, because of the excessive discharge, right? Which is what we should be calling Dan Wong. He's just an excessive discharge.
He's a pustule of grossness.
He loves to use the word, right? Pustule.
Pustule.
Then he irreversibly stained the mafia's boss wife. Girlfriend. Yeah, we can't even get our story straight.
So the important thing to note that is Dan has posted a comic today, just this morning on Instagram,
on lactation,
explaining his side of the story, which is totally not true. So everything we say here is true. Whatever Dan tells you is not true.
Go check it out at a Good Citizen.
Yeah, his version is some like power fantasy roleplay thing. It's like he pretends that he's the guy with the samurai sword, but actually he's not. He's the one being chased by the guy with the samurai sword. I
think it's just an excuse for him to draw his own tits and nipples, really. Like, he just wanted to be an exhibitionist but not be too direct about it. Then he forced it all onto our eyeballs so that we all have to collectively go wash the eyeball to rid ourselves of the filth that we just saw. Thank you, Dan Wong. Even with your absence, you've managed to contaminate us. Thanks. Anyways,
that is the situation with Dan Wong.
Yeah.
And let's get right into the show. I have given the LongKangKitties some notes in which nobody fucking read
even
it.
Me.
Yeah, as usual
I got read a bit of it.
Yeah, Jerry got read a bit. Okay. So what has happened, right, in about 2 weeks ago, a fairly famous reporter called Michael Schellenberger has leaked some of the files from this place called WPATH. So it stands for World Professional Association for Transgender Health. Okay?
For what? Transgender what?
Transgender health.
Health, okay.
Yeah. So to give you a bit of context about WPATH, basically anytime somebody talks about gender affirming care for young children, okay, and then they will say, all these kids, right, they need to be placed on hormone therapy, they need to have their puberty suppressed, like put on puberty blocker, need to be transitioning, socially transitioning, medically transitioning, and all of it is perfectly safe, okay? All of those talking points functionally come from WPATH, okay? Like anytime someone talk about those things, they will point to WPATH, the research or their published journals and articles, okay? So Michael Schellenberger somehow has managed to infiltrate WPATH, their internal work site, the messaging board. Okay? And they have basically leaked a whole bunch of their messages from within these boards. And it's quite terrifying. They have released it. Basically, the file is called WPATH. The document is called WPATH file. It's very accessible. Anyone can go and read it. Anyone can go and access it. It's quite dense. The written portion of it, that means giving you all the context, is like about 70 pages odd long. Then the rest of the 100 and something odd pages, 150 pages or so, are screenshots of the files, okay, of the messaging boards that was leaked. And I can tell you, right, the messaging boards is really very horrifying. Okay, so maybe before I go on, just based on this, right, the context, any thoughts from the two of you?
Well, I mean, I was kind of surprised that you want to bring it up because like the transgender issues and debate has been raging on for like the past 2 or 3 years, non-stop, especially with talking points from the very far left, people who keep crying on about the woke crowd. But I think generally, currently, it's kind of fallen out of flavor because most people have moved on from this point. So I was kind of curious, like, why you wanted to bring this up. And also because, like, there have been developments within the Western Hemisphere where a lot of pushback has started to come about from people who are questioning, like, the whole transgender rhetoric of saying that, gender affirming care is very important, blah, blah, blah. If you don't do it, then, kids are going to commit suicide, etc., etc. And also, like, detransitioners are coming out and sharing their stories. Detransitioners are suing the clinics and the doctors for the medical care that they've been given. And then, I don't know. I just don't know if it's like a niche issue or it's very unknown. Or maybe I'm just wallowing in this sort of topics a lot.
Jerry?
Yeah, I mean, honestly speaking, also a little bit surprised why suddenly you're like, hey, we should look. I mean, I know there's a documentation leak and everything, and I did look through it. The meat of the report, I didn't really read through the front 70 plus pages. I was going through most of the messaging, the messages that were screen capped, and it does kind of feel like a lot of them, medical professionals, they actually don't really know what they are doing. And then there are the people who are telling them, hey, you know what? Maybe we should look at it from a life-saving point of view first. Like if whatever procedures that you guys are trying to, prescribe for their gender-affirming qualities or whatever, let's look at how dangerous it is to perform these things onto a living person first, But it seems like there's like any kind of those talk, right, seems to be pushed down because they're like, oh, hey, you're not your dissenting view with whatever we're trying to push, so we're not going to listen to you, or they're being shoved to the side or whatever. But it's a little bit worrying in the sense that if medical professionals don't have that central, I know what what the fuck is that?
We are adding a few new feature to Windows.
Yeah, but it feels like if the guidelines are kind of arbitrary and hodgepodge of ideas put together, it's a bit worrying. It is a little bit worrying.
No, but can you like maybe list some actual concrete examples so people have an idea of what you're talking about?
Okay, so
like
I
the things that you
the,
find alarming.
Okay, I do have a. Okay, let's take a look at this. Oh, hang on. We need to. Whoops. Where is the thing? Sorry, everyone. Technical issues again.
Like we say, is it even a LongKangKitties live stream if we don't fuck it up somehow?
Hey, is this the first time we're doing this?
No.
Oh, okay.
We've done this before. Okay, so this is one of the example of the.
I think you need to zoom in a little bit.
If zoom in,
No,
they can't. Wait, they can't
Try.
see. Okay, I try to zoom in.
Yeah, I think this is good.
yeah, okay.
Okay. So here's an example of one of the leaked messages. So you can see this is like their internal messaging board. So this is a screenshot. Okay, so WPATH member discuss initiating hormone therapy for patient with trauma. Okay, I'm struggling. So this is some guy going posting on. It's like, think of it like a Reddit lah. You can post something, then people can respond to your post. So, okay, I'm struggling with a patient diagnosed with PTSD, MDD, with well-documented and observed dissociation. Moreover, a recent personality test suggests schizoid typical traits. They were referred to me to discuss hormone replacement therapy and eager to start. Psychiatry is recommending holding off, comma, the patient is becoming more and more frustrated with me for not moving forward with the treatment, for moving forward with HRT. They are looking to me as a trans expert who is not helping them. My practice is based fully on the informed consent model. However, this case has me perplexed, struggling internally as to what is the right thing to do. Okay, what the fuck? Okay, so here's the response. I'm missing why you are perplexed. Does the mental illness impair ability to give informed consent? Is there not persistent gender dysphoria? What is the nature of the disassociation? And do you believe it impairs ability to give informed consent? This is an internal messaging board. They're just talking to each other, and you have people who are coming out and saying that, oh, your patient have a bit of like mental problem. Oh yeah, just fuck it. Just give they can give consent anyway.
Yeah. It's like the people asking questions are genuinely concerned what my actions will do to the patient, and some of the responses are, you're a healthcare giver. Just decide what's best for them and go for it, man. And I don't know if that's like.
It's totally not ethical at all, by the way.
Yeah, exactly.
I think the first person who posted it have some like serious questions that they want to ask, and then it just seems like the response is very flippant. And this is just one example. By the way, there's like hundreds of pages of all these kind of examples. I'll show a couple more. Angie, do you want to say anything first?
I came across another one where they were discussing using BMI as an indicator to judge whether this patient is ready or not ready for surgery. And in a lot of cases, they are recommending that the patient lower the BMI in order to improve their chances of recovery during post-surgery, right? And there are people who are like, why is it so difficult, are you guys fat shaming the overweight patients who need gender reassignment or gender reaffirming surgery? And it's not that, it's just normal, common sense. The less material that the surgeons have to cut through, the easier time it is going to be. And the less harm they're going to make on the body, right? And the post-surgery recovery is going to be a lot easier if you lose all the excess weight as well. So I don't understand. It's like all these indicators are indicators of being able to recover better. And would you want to not recover better after surgery? You've really gone through so much pain to do this gender reassignment or gender reaffirming surgery. You want the best chances of recovery too, right? Why are they not allowing this, or why are they pushing forward despite the risks? It's just very weird to me.
Angie, you want to add anything?
I think like most of this is a lot also because of the general idea of transitioning and gender affirming care, whether it is physical care, meaning like you take hormones or you go through like surgical interventions to change yourself from one sex to the other, or like at least have like the sexual characteristics, or like, I think a lot of it is because the various I guess LGBTQ groups have pushed very hard for affirmation-only models, because like if you don't affirm them, then you are probably a transphobe, and you should be cancelled.
Okay,
So
when you say affirming, you mean the whole battery of like things that you need to do?
As far as I know, right, I've watched like a couple of documentaries. These are all on YouTube, and I think there was one person who was actually worked in a gender or like psychology clinic before, and she quit and she did like a bit of whistleblowing about like what was actually going on, and she was talking about like how they weren't allowed to question whether, like, let's say a kid come in, right, and she's like, oh, I'm feeling this way and that way, and instead of and telling them, hey, I think I'm like of the opposite gender, right, and instead of going into like a session of counseling or therapy to find out like what is the origins of this, how long has it been going on, whether there are other external factors that could possibly kind of contribute to the feeling of you feeling alienated in your own body or uncomfortable in your own body, what they have to do is to like just prescribe to the patient like hormone replacement therapy. And I think the problem here is probably the fact that it's no longer like an exploration session where the doctor, the actual professional, tries to find out what is actually wrong with you. It's the patient coming in and telling the doctor what they want them to do. So it's kind of like you go on the shelf and be like, hey, I want this. You go in and then tell the doctor, I want this. And the doctor is not really able to tell you no, even though they think otherwise. So at least this is what I got from the various documentaries that I've seen from the whistleblowers lah.
And this is also the central point of the WPATH files, which is that there is like a patient-driven model here that's like in place. Just randomly have like people knocking on the door.
This is the Longkang.
This is the Longkang. Okay, so it is a patient-driven model as opposed to like, for example, like an expert-driven model, right? If you go to a doctor and then you say, oh, I think I might have cancer, the doctor will be like, well, why the hell do you think that? Like, go through some tests first before you decide.
Because I checked WebMD.
Yeah.
And I have all the symptoms.
WebMD, everything is cancer. I have a headache. Check WebMD. You got cancer. You got brain cancer. Okay. So, and this is one of the things that the WPATH, the journalists, have written about as well. They have compared the WPATH files, the leak of it, to one of the 4 great medical scandals of the past like 150 years. One of the scandals that was it was being compared to was there was a period of time, especially in the West, they were recommending that healthy young women who may be experiencing like some mental distress or mental disorder have their ovaries removed.
Because like they are hysterical, and all hysteria stems from the womb. Yeah. Or they might like ask you to go get a lobotomy, you know, where they stick a fucking metal pin through your skull and then like lobotomize you.
It's not through your skull. It's the ice pick through your eyes. They stick the ice pick through your eyes.
And then they just scramble it a little bit and be like, hey man, look at her, she's so fucking calm. And she's like, the woman is like,
just like catatonic. Okay, the lobotomy one is equal opportunity, both male and female. Typically is the family who decides, especially if they are maybe schizophrenic.
Do you know what is a real fucking medical scandal that I found out like just last year? I found out that most of the medical trials in the past couple of decades were done on men instead of women.
No, that one is the 90s one. They did say that they conduct it on men, then they just think, oh yeah, women are just smaller men.
And they transfer the results to women, which is why like, you know, like, and they assume that just because men have these symptoms or presenting like a problem, like a medical problem, like therefore women also will have the same symptoms. And you know what? We are finding out in the last decade or two that it's completely like bullshit, because like the same chemicals are actually it can be metabolized very differently from men to women, and also because of the way that our bodies are different. Like, you know, women have just been over-prescribed medication sometimes under-prescribed medication, which is why like a lot of the women have their, you know, diseases are undiagnosed for years and years and years, and it's still currently happening. It's a fucking medical travesty.
Just talking about like a heart attack, cardiac arrest. It's actually coming to light more often. More regularly now that there's a women experience heart attack in a very different way. So typically, it's the pain is different. The way it radiates is different. Like in general, we always see a dramatic heart attack, like all the.
It's the dudes who like
it's usually guys.
Yeah.
Women apparently especially in women, older women who suffer heart attack, it can happen on and off. The discomfort will come and go for a good waves 20 plus hours.
Yeah.
And then most of the time they will like go to sleep and then they will not wake up the next day.
No, and also the thing is like, because it presents so differently, there have been so many, I think there was a documentary and there are many articles about this issue where women having heart attack go into like hospitals and don't get diagnosed.
Yeah, they get rejected.
They get rejected because the doctors don't believe them, because they're not like presenting with the same like symptoms as men are. So they're like, no, you can't be having a heart attack. And that's where WebMD helps you.
Actually, here's another interesting phenomenon that also I read up about. Because men and women, right, they talk about pain differently as well.
Yeah.
Men tend to talk about pain in like descriptive manner. So they'll be like, oh, I have a sharp pain, I have a dull pain, I have this pain, whatever. Whereas women talk about pain in a narrative manner. So they'll be like, oh, I woke up this morning and then after that I have something. So basically it's like women tend to talk about their symptoms and their pains in a way that is like attached to a story. And this is one of the things that physicians in recent times, they're not saying like, oh, women should change. Right now, in fact, they are doing the opposite. They are actually training doctors, right, to kind of pick up and to look out for certain signs, right, and to talk about pain in a different way.
Can we just also talk about like how a lot of times like women are just believed to be hysterical even to this day, and then like doctors
I believe you to be hysterical like all the time. Like,
I think you're way more hysterical than I am.
Why am I
John.
way more I don't have my ovaries.
Like into a rage. Your balls are like ovaries, but anyways.
My balls are over.
The thing is, right, like because doctors and nurses often undermine women's pain and often don't believe them when they are saying that, oh, hey, this really fucking hurts. Then they underprescribe painkillers to women when they are undergoing like massive like internal surgery, and then they overprescribe it. They underprescribe for women and then they overprescribe it for men. I was just watching this video about like putting in the IUD, and it was like fucking traumatic. And then the woman was like, oh, I wasn't given any pain relief whatsoever. Whereas like when men are undergoing like minor snip surgery, they get like, you know, pain medication, they get like anesthetic when they're being like, you know, done surgery, and then after that they get like 3 or 4 days of rest when it's a day surgery.
Hang on a second. This one I have to jump in a bit. Okay.
Hold on. Did you get snipped and is that why you know? Is that
No, okay. I never had any surgery except for one dental surgery. Okay, but that one doesn't count. No, what happened, right? And this is something that I've witnessed you done before. Okay, I've personally witnessed you done before, and I believe it was on the show. Women like to say, I have a very high tolerance for pain. This is universal. Every woman I've ever known, they love to shove it in our faces. I have a very high tolerance for pain. And it's probably because of the period cramps that they have to experience. Probably it's very painful. Okay, I do not doubt the veracity of your claim. Okay, just to be clear,
sure.
I do not doubt the veracity. You tell me you have a high tolerance for pain, I fucking believe you. But then on the same hand, right, don't just be like suddenly, oh my god, when I talk about my pain, the doctor don't believe me. It's very likely also that even if I noticed you didn't say it's female doctors but then you say nurses, which majority of them are female.
No, but
they
like
probably,
health professionals.
They probably also think, oh, you probably have a higher tolerance for pain. Like this is probably what goes on in their mind.
Yeah,
so,
but the thing is, even with that, right?
So meaning to say, they also think on the flip side, men have a lower tolerance for pain. You such a fucking crybaby here have more opioids. I am perfectly okay with you giving me more drugs, okay? Give me more pain numbing drugs. Please give
the thing is, right?
Give it to me, baby! Give it to me.
Okay, the thing is, right, like different women have different levels of tolerance. And also our bodies are shaped differently, right? Like there are some women who say that, oh, I didn't feel a fucking thing when the IUD is placed into me, and then there are women who said that it's more painful than like childbirth.
It's also funny because I think I read it somewhere. Either I read it somewhere or someone told it to me. Like female gynae, right?
Yeah.
Usually they are more botak.
Yes.
So they are like that early, don't need lah, no need.
I do it to myself.
Yeah, no need lah. I also feel it every day, every month I feel it also. Never mind, it's okay.
I think the problem is, right, like if you don't feel it, fine, that's great for you. But then if you want painkillers, they're often rejected. You know?
So
there are a lot of women who say, hey, this is really painful. Can I have some pain relief? And then the doctor's like, oh, you're fine.
There's also the issue of, because women tend to be smaller, so the amount of painkillers given to them, right, also needs to be calibrated. I mean, look, I'm not a medical professional, okay, and I trust me, I am the one who dig up the WPATH file. I have a shitload of problem with the medical profession in general, okay, and there's this term, right, something what iodic, something is like basically issues caused by the medical community. right? Like you accidentally go for more surgery than you need. You go for more tests than you need. You cannot stab by needles, by more. You overprescribe drugs.
Not to mention that a lot of doctors get kickbacks from pharmaceutical companies. I
100% agree. But at the same time, okay, it also feels very unfair if we are just like oversimplifying the issue and saying that all of this is just purely because you're a woman, therefore like this happened. It probably contributes, and I'm not saying that it's like not at all a factor, but sometimes right the story is not so clear cut. I think that's like the takeaway, and you should try and also understand your healthcare professional. Like I think it's good for the healthcare professional to understand us, but the reverse also must be true. And I notice this sometimes. So like I brought my mom to see the doctor, right? And then my mom was going on, like she was talking about the pain in a narrative way. And this is something that I noticed. The doctor, right, his eye just glazed over. He was just too fucking bored already. So I also have to kind of nudge my mom a bit. Okay, like, how painful is this? Like we kind of need, it's a two-way street lah. I also cannot scold a doctor. I also cannot say, hey, why are you not interested? Then I just become antagonistic. Someone not my doctor, it's not my mom's doctor. Right? I don't want to create an animosity between them. But I kind of need to like nudge the relationship along.
That's one factor. But the other factor is just the lack of general study done on women in general, because like they are unreliable. We are unreliable because our hormones are fluctuating. So you can't get really exact results when you do like testing on a large scale, because like unlike men whose hormones like fluctuates within the day, ours fluctuate over a cycle of generally 28 days, which is why women were excluded from studies in the first place. But I'm just saying that there is like for example, period blood. The general idea, right, is that you only have like 3 to 5 tablespoons of blood per period or something.
That's not true.
And it's not true. And it was only found out like last year or the year before last year, because they have never actually used blood in a pet before. So the idea of how much blood a pet can absorb is wrong, because they weren't using blood until like women scientists actually use fucking blood. So I mean, there are all sorts of things that are stemmed from the lack of research into these actual issues based on women's health, right? So I mean, to say that, it's because like women are narrative about their pain. Yes, okay, maybe that's one factor, but the other factor is clearly because there's very much lack of research.
I'm just saying that is a two-way street. Okay, I'm both siding this. Okay, I'm practicing both sides.
You're fencing.
I'm practicing both sidism. Okay.
Oh my god! Wait, cut to Jerry. We should show Jerry's face when you're fencing, and then you just voice over.
Okay, I just keep talking. Okay, but then
Jerry, move your mouth.
My point is that it's. I also forgot what my point is already. Basically I'm just both siding this.
Yeah.
Like I said, I think the medical professionals have a lot to catch up on, and not just medical. By the way, I also noticed that in recent times, like even the sports industry are forced to catch up, because the training cycle of like female athletes, right, have to be drastically different from males. And what they used to do in the past is just, you're training to be an Olympiad.
You
fucking just birth control. Yeah, just don't
eliminate
have
your freaking period.
Correct.
So that you can train like a man.
But then that also, now we realize actually, fucking a shitload of problems is just like compounding medical issues that last like throughout the rest of your life. You could potentially become medicalized.
Continue.
So anyway, the sports industry also have to catch up, right? They have to change their way of training female athletes, so on and so forth. It's tough. It's gonna take a lot of time. Is it as a result of institutional misogyny? I don't know.
Can I just read this article that came out recently on Washington Post? Women are getting off birth control as misinformation explodes. Search for birth control on TikTok or Instagram, and a cascade of misleading videos vilifying hormonal contraception appears. Young women blaming their weight gain and depression on the pill. Right-wing commentators claiming that some birth control can lead to infertility. And I'm like, bitch, please. These side effects are actually printed in the little booklet that they give you when you take birth control. And like, what the fuck is this fucking narrative about misinformation? It's women after decades of taking birth control without the doctor telling them about potential side effects, be them not researching their own themselves about like potential side effects when taking birth control, that they are coming forward to sharing their stories in forums, on TikTok, on IG. And a lot of these women, like one of the common thing that these women talk about is how they've been gaslit by the doctors when, after they took the birth control, they go back to the doctors, hey, I'm experiencing this and this. Is it because of birth control? And then the doctor will say something like, I don't think so. It's probably not the birth control. Let's switch to a different birth control. So they switch around to like fucking different birth control until they find one that has no side effects. Or, these women come off of birth control and then that screws with their hormonal cycles as well. And it takes a while before, your body can regulate it normally. And I don't know.
Actually, I'm very interested to like pick your brain about this. So one of the psychological research into women on birth control, right, is also that they found out that while you are on the pill, you actually have different sexual preferences.
Yes, correct.
And then you turns out, right, that you whatever, like, so while you're on the pill and you're dating, this person that you thought that you were interested in, after you get married, and then you get off the pill, and then it turns out, right, you hate this
like,
motherfucker.
Heck,
it's just like,
I'm not
oh my god,
to
this guy is
all.
just what a pussy little beta wimpy male, and I'm just like, now I just need some strong alpha bro to just take me now.
So this is a very not well documented, but there have been a lot of women sharing anecdotally that after coming off birth control, they no longer find their original partners attractive or sexy, or they just want to have nothing to do with this dude. But sorry.
Finish it.
Oh, okay. But the other thing is also that some women, or a lot of women, I don't know the actual numbers because there's not been like, in-depth studies done on this yet. They report like a personality change as well. They report having brain fog. They report not being themselves. And so like a lot of them go through depression. Some of them like have suicidal ideation. And a lot of these women, I've read in forums and stuff. Of course, you can say, who are these women, right? Like they are not verified. But they report that after coming off birth control, which they might have been on for years or decades, they feel like they're finally themselves again. So like a lot, I mean, you know what? Like humans are not rational, logical creatures. We are just meat suits walking around controlled by our organs and then the bacteria and the chemicals that are flowing through our mind. So fucking around with your hormones, really, like you have no idea what it does to you, dude.
I'll just say, in my relationship with my wife, my experience with birth control is it works, but not in the way it's intended.
Yeah, it decreases your sex drive as well, right?
No, it's like when she was on birth control, right? So we're thinking, okay, yeah, it's probably a good thing. So since we're sexually active, it's better she goes on birth control, right? So she took 2 different kinds. I don't remember the names.
At once?
No, different times. So she tried one for about a month and a half, and we had no sex because she's constantly being, she's just not her normal self. She's just constantly looking for a fight.
I mean, it works, right? That's per
intended control,
because you're abstinent.
Yeah. So then the second one she switched to also kind of have a similar effect, which also is like if you're going like this, it's not romantic, right? It's difficult to get into the mood. So eventually she's like, fuck it, we'll just do it. We'll just do it the old-fashioned way, and I guess that works for her, works for us, I guess. But yeah, it's not like a lot of people will think that taking birth control is the solution to everything, but I don't know, man. It affects everyone differently, and you have to go and try it out for yourself to see whether it works for you.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, I think the major thing is that, like, birth control can be very good if you're a woman who experiences, like, hormonal fluctuations or this irregular hormonal flow. And a lot of women love it, like, it brought, like, a lot of awesome stuff to their life. But then there are also women who don't love. So I think, anyways, girls, ladies, women, if you really want to go on birth control, please go and read all the side effects before you start anything, because after you come off it, like, there are side effects that can impact you as well. For example, hair loss, for example, all these sorts of things, okay, like after you come off it. So please go do your research before you take any medication. Yeah, anyways, that's my 2 cents.
All
on
right,
birth control.
let's head back to WPATH for a second.
Oh my god,
And then-
still.
Yes.
By the way, this coffee is made by Jerry. It's so yum.
Thanks.
Okay. So, WPATH member discussed the development of hepatic adenomas on a client taking estrogen testosterone. Hi, colleagues, friends. Wondering if anyone else had to navigate the development of hepatic, which is I think liver, right? Like if it's whatever. So, liver adenomas in young person treated with testosterone and or oral contraceptive. Without getting into too much patient-specific detail, our team has a 16-year-old patient who was on norepinephrine acetate for several years for menstrual suppression and who has been on testosterone for slightly over a year. Patient found to have 2 liver masses, hepatic adenomas, 11 cm by 11 cm and 7 cm by 7 cm. And the oncologist and surgeon both have indicated that the most likely offending agent are the hormones and have recommended treatment. So, one of the things that often pops up in this particular discussion about like young people transitioning is that, oh yeah, it's 100% safe. Everything is like hunky dory, everything is like okay. But then turns out, right, it's not. Like this WPATH organization has known for a long time that hormone therapies are linked with cancer development inside patients.
Not just that. I think like I was watching this documentary about a mom who was talking about her child who went through puberty blockers, and she was talking about how like now the kid has some bone density problem and he can't really, do much because he's developing very abnormally for a child his age and so on and so forth. And the thing is, right, like I think with any medication, unless there's been like long-term studies of consequences, you basically are like the hamster for all these things lah. I mean,
supposedly, because WPATH actually is a very long-standing organization. They've been around, I think, since even like before the 60s or whatever.
Yeah.
They used to be under a different name. And they are basically kind of like shoving their credibility around and just saying that there have been long-term studies done and then it's like everything is okay. Or that the...
I think the problem here is that like, and this is in general, I think that activism shouldn't be mixed with science or, like medical advocacy because very often...
But how do you determine the difference? Like the problem is that when people come out and say, oh yeah, I think you shouldn't put kids on hormone, then later the counter remark is, oh, you're just being a transphobe.
Not just that, they also say that like if you don't do that, they might kill themselves.
Yeah, which I think also is like, I mean, it's just medical blackmail or like.
Yeah, so I think like that's the issue and prior to the activism and the advocacy for affirming care, like what they used to do in the past was that you had to go through a very long process of getting psychological counseling and then like to check out what's your actual issue, blah,
you
blah,
need to
blah.
have 2 psychologists come out and certify you to have. Back then it was called gender dissociative something
Yeah, whatever it is. So basically like there is like a actual medical process that you go through to ascertain that yes, you're really, really committed to this and this is not something that you are running to as a problem. I think like there was this detransitioner who came out and talked about her problem, about how she had like chopped off her boobs and went through like HRT, etc., and now she's talking about how they didn't ask her to do like any psychological counseling. They only affirmed her. But what really it was for her was that, from at a young age, she was sexualized and she felt real uncomfortable. And this is a process that's very, very common for young girls, especially when you start developing boobs. So she felt very uncomfortable, and then I think she had like some sort of sexual assault happen to her, and she really hated her body. She hated like men looking at her body. She hated being in her body, and then she thought that it's because she wanted to be a boy, because she associated with being a boy to something like, I'll be safe and I'll be so strong, and then like men can't take advantage of me. And now she is detransitioning, and unfortunately her boobs have already been cut off, and her voice is quite low, and it's a process for her, and there are quite a few detransitioners coming out to speak about their experience. So they are kind of split into two groups. They're the ones who are advocating for children to not do transition, and then the other group is the one who are like detransitioning and say that it's part of their gender discovery process. So they don't really say that it's a bad thing for them, like they don't regret it, that it's just a part of their experience being in the world. So
I agree with you in that the psychological aspect of it needs to be, the guardrails need to be put in place. But then the reason why it was dismantled is precisely because there's what this organization is saying, that all these are just impediments, right? And they may even have used the word like transphobic impediments to people who need this kind of therapy, who need this kind of gender affirming care. And even though WPATH itself, it's not like strictly a medical organization, they are somewhat an advocacy organization. They do have tremendous amount of influence on institutions like the APA, the American Psychiatric Association. And to the point that actually earlier this year, before the WPATH files leaked, APA have now have endorsed the standard of care, which is the SOCA, they call it the standard of care version 8, like the procedure, which is a document that was published and created and altered by WPATH throughout this, I think about 20 years. And so now APA have come out and says that, oh yeah, this is the way to go now. So even the psychologists are also like, okay lah, no need the guardrails lah.
I mean that's one thing, but I think there's also like a giant pushback now. Especially I think we mentioned this before. Like I think when the pendulum swings too extreme in one way, it will swing back the other way. And what has happened in the UK, for example, the NHS is shutting down Tavistock Clinic, which is like a gender identity clinic for children and teens and something like that, because of the outcry. So I think with any movement, right, like what happens generally is that it goes to the extreme, and then sanity and rationality eventually intervenes, and then you have people looking into the problem, and then there will be revisions to processes and like how people get treatment. So which is happening now, right? Like there's this whole outcry.
I'm not super sure about that. I mean, even just like basing on your reaction, in which like you kind of just like, oh yeah, whatever, it's like not so important. It just feels like it's gonna repeat itself. Like this situation, right? It's not gonna be like.
But I mean, like
we really need to go and like hammer it down and just make it like fucking go away and tell people that, hey, all these things that people were talking about in the past, right? When it comes to gender affirming care, functionally it's all bullshit. Like take all of that and just throw it out the rubbish bin, because if there is supposed to be a gender affirming care, we need to start from zero, and you need to like go back to actual medical research.
No, I think like the whole thing about like activism is the fact that like a lot of them come out and be activists because there were a lot of discrimination against trans people, against LGBTQ people, blah 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 blah. And then of course in the course of activism, sometimes it goes a little bit too far, right? Like it just goes off the rails. And then but what has happened now is that transgender people have kind of been included in the public nowadays because of the way that they are so in the public eye and discourse, and it kind of like normalizes this sort of transgenderism, and I think it's a good thing and also bad thing. But some people will unfortunately get.
I don't know if it's.
I think like
especially when it comes to like kids lah. I think if you're an adult, you want to transition by all means.
Yeah,
so
I think so.
The reason that I brought this up, right, also that there is a local context to this. I mean, this WPATH file is like leaked in the US, in the US. But there is a local context to this. I remember like cases from years back when there was a kid, don't know from which secondary school, saying that, oh yeah, I'm being bullied, and the school is just like impeding my gender affirming transition journey and whatever. And there is a website in Singapore that, what is it called again? I think it's Transgender SG or something like that. probably they haven't altered their site because this WPATH file just leaked. But I hope that they do alter their website to accurately update that this gender affirming care thing is not reliable. It's just
Okay,
totally
I think I generally think that you can affirm somebody if they want to explore their gender identity. And what you mean by we have to nail down what it means by gender affirming care. Does it mean that immediately you go on HRT? No, but let's say if a kid wants to cut their hair short and then wear pants instead of skirts, can we do that? Yeah, why not? Because they're not actually harming themselves, right?
But that's not care, right? That's not gender affirming care.
That is one part of it.
That's socialization.
No, but
it's
that
not
is
about
one part of it because a lot of them don't get to do that. For example, I think there was one case in Singapore where one of the kids wanted to wear pants instead of a skirt and then they were denied or something like that.
You mean
at school?
Like a girl wanted to wear pants instead
if
of...
I'm not wrong, they wanted to wear pants instead of wearing a skirt because they don't like wearing skirts. I mean, they identify as a boy, I think. At least that's what I vaguely remember. And there was a pushback because the school didn't allow it. So I think, if you think about Angelina Jolie's kid, Shiloh or whatever her name is, there was a whole period of time where she was identifying as a boy or wanted to be a boy, and she appeared, with short hair, and then and Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie just let her do whatever she wanted, he wanted, I don't know, they wanted. Right now she's dressing like a girl, behaving like a girl, appearing as a girl, and I think that's something that we actually can do, and so that they don't feel the urgency to transition.
Maybe in a
hormones.
social setting, but not in a school setting, right? I don't think
it's such a big freaking deal, to be honest. You
don't
what?
think it's a big freaking deal doesn't mean that it's not a big freaking deal, right? I think that's the contention here, is that first of all, none of it shows that it actually works. Like this gender affirming thing. I mean, if anything, this WPATH file, right, is just to show that this gender affirming care, it doesn't even promote happiness in the short term. A lot of them, they just end up regretting it. A lot of it is social contagion. A lot of it is just complete and utter nonsense, right?
There are no research, or at least that I know of, that shows having a social transition is bad for a kid. I think what is bad is the inability to express themselves the way that they want, and then which leads them to more extreme paths, like wanting to cut off their boobs. Or
but that's just goes back to the medical blackmail again. It's if we don't let you wear a skirt, you're gonna cut your tits off. I don't think that's like a reasonable.
I think it's retarded to say that a person cannot wear a skirt or wear pants if they want to.
I mean, you may think it's retarded, but that doesn't make it retarded, right? I mean, that's you keep throwing all these labels around, and then people are just supposed to agree with you. What is the point of the discussion? Is that we are trying to say, hey, gender affirming care probably doesn't work, and then you're just it's retarded if you don't want to wear. Blah, blah, blah.
I will say, if I'm not wrong, if I don't remember wrongly, from a lot of the people, the older people who have transitioned, a lot of them say that their only regret is they didn't do it earlier, right? So I think a lot of that flows back into what WPATH is trying to do, is to get access to these kind of treatments or this kind of surgery or whatever, at a much earlier rate, so that at much earlier age, so that there is no regrets when they get older. But then again, one of the things that I think is quite important to note that is a lot of people who transition after they are fully grown adults, they can make their own decisions. However, by the time they can do that, the physical form has changed, right? Because puberty has kicked in. It's done all the physical changes, and they cannot get back to certain things pre-puberty, which is why they're making puberty blockers accessible to children who are really young, right? But at the same time, I think the concern, like what John is saying, is also, look, hang on, if they're that young and they're making that decision, it's who is telling them, do they understand the risk factors? Do they understand, if you don't like what you become by 16, there's no going back, right? It's almost like you're expecting a 9-year-old, 10-year-old to make a decision like a 40, 50-year-old. I mean, fucking hell, I'm 45 and I still cannot make adult decisions.
No, and the thing is, there are also adults who do the surgery not knowing the aftercare that's required. So, for example, if you are a man and then you have like a bottom surgery. I think what you have to do
You have to maintain
is
it.
that you have to maintain
Yeah,
it. You
every
have
few
to
years.
put in a dildo or something to
It's a
stretch
dilator.
a dilator to stretch your vagina. Otherwise, it closes because
Yes.
technically it's like a wound. So, and also the other thing I think is that the fact of the matter is that if you have like puberty blockers, right, given to you as a very young child, that your sex organs don't develop as an adult. So there are problems later on. Let's say if you want to do bottom surgery, because your penis is
There's no
not
material.
large enough for them to
Yeah.
actually create anything like resembling a vagina. So like, I mean, there are also these sorts of things that I don't, which is why I think I'm largely against puberty blockers and having surgery when you're a developing child.
Are you guys familiar with this term AGP?
What?
Auto-gynephilia.
Oh yes.
Jerry, are you familiar with it?
No.
So I think autogynephilia, which is a love of yourself, but as a woman, dressed up as a woman. So basically, this is one of the great scandals also of like the transgender movement, which is there has been an insistence, right, from a lot of all these organizations, not just WPATH lah, but from various organizations around the world, saying that denying the existence of AGP. And I think for any transgender conversation to start, right, we have to identify the two main groups of the trans community, which is functionally the AGP, which are basically men who have a sexual fetish of dressing up as a woman, and the real so-called like the innate transgender, the gender dysphoria. Like there are people out there who actually feel like they are in the wrong gender, and the like HRT, bottom surgery, top surgery, whatever, all these are probably like very suitable for them after a lot of consultation. By all means, please go and do it as early as you can. But then for the rest of us, for the rest of them, which are the AGPs, they absolutely do not need any of those things. In fact, right, what tends to happen is the people who are AGP, they don't get diagnosed as such. They go for all the surgeries, then their sex drive dropped to zero, and then they fucking hate themselves. Because what they were originally wanted was the experience of like the sexual gratification of being a woman. But then once the sexual urge drops to zero or drops to very close to zero, they functionally don't have it anymore. And then after that, they just severely regret. Like it's a very deep, it's like, you know, yeah, it's a difficult thing lah. And
If you're an adult and you do it to yourself, then too bad lah. Like what can you do? I mean, there's nothing.
This is the denial of like a certain facet of the transgender movement, right? Which is that, hey, there are people out there who are AGPs. We don't know what is the percentage, but then they are just outright denying that there's such a thing, and that all transgender people who have that feeling are suffering from gender dysphoria.
I think that's also the probably one of the problems that I would say in this WPATH situation is if there are two entrenched in one side of the argument, and then you know if you want to be an organization that is looking out for the well-being of the trans community, then you have to take into consideration all facets of it. It's not just, oh, you are such and such, we narrow you down and this is therefore the path you have to take. Sorry, no pun intended. But what I'm trying to say is it's the advice. Okay, even though we know that based off the documentation that was leaked, that a lot of them probably don't really know what they're doing, or they have a slight idea what can be done. I do feel that if the conversation is not open enough, they're not encompassing enough people, then it's also quite a dangerous thing, because they're not giving the right advice to the right people, and you guys have mentioned, mentioned a lot of examples, like we're not giving the right advice to the preteens because they only feel that this is the way to go. They are advocating for something, or they're activists in certain things, or they politicize certain things. And then there are people with what was that again? AGP, right? And then those are the ones who probably need something that Angie mentioned, just being a cross-dresser
Like
might
social
be enough.
transition,
Right?
yeah.
Social transition might be enough, but they're being pushed to a certain procedures or medical procedures that they don't really need to get because, and sometimes it's very difficult for if a doctor comes in and give me a second, you guys continue.
If the doctor comes in and then actually I don't know how to continue because I have no idea what your point is.
Okay, anyway, it's just okay. Angie, you got any last words you want to add on to this before we move on?
Well, I think the whole issue is you just need radical acceptance, basically, because a lot of this, like for example, the AGP thing, like a lot of them don't even know that they have it because it's such a taboo to say that, hey, I enjoy this sexualization of being a woman, it's a kink, it's a fetish, and then they don't dare to, they might not even have the self-awareness to understand that because like other people might be like, oh, you're so fucking weird for like enjoying that. And I think like I think I read some article that said that there are also a section of detransitioners who realized they are actually homosexual and they transitioned because they were they have internalized homophobia. Like for example, a boy liked another boy, and then he's like, no, I cannot be gay, therefore I must be a girl inside.
This is that thing where like Iran has, don't know, the third highest transgender population or something like that, right? Or
I think like basically
they're just self-loathing, like
I
homosexual.
mean, the whole thing is because they self-loathe because society loathes them, or they have been taboo and marginalized for so long, and they have received no love or even outright receive hate for being who they are. So I think the whole thing is just radical acceptance. If people don't have to fight so hard to be accepted for who they are, then probably they won't need to like go to the extremes and do lots of stuff. Like let's say like you're a dude and then you just fucking love dressing up and being a woman and having other people look at you as a woman, and you have like very high sex drive, and everybody's like, okay, cool, as long as you're not harming anybody. Right, you're not like exposing yourself indecently in public or whatever. Just do it lah. Who the fuck gives a shit? I don't give a shit. What? Sorry.
No, you're not gaslighting people to get what you want.
Yeah, I think like so. Basically, my solution for this is just radical acceptance. Except for like the really weird shit where you actually do harm other people, then that's where we don't have radical acceptance.
Okay, I cannot get behind that. No radical acceptance. Not even marginal acceptance. Okay, Jerry,
you are the one who like push all these people to do all these extreme surgeries. That's you.
I'm
It's
the
your
one.
fault. Yeah, it's all your fault.
Okay, yeah.
Yes.
Then continue to do
people like you.
Continue to do all these extreme surgeries is fine. Okay, Jerry, got any last words before we move on?
Before we move on, last words. Last words is yes, please don't do certain procedures to yourself at a drop of a hat. A lot of these things are not reversible. But then again, probably a lot of people who want to push for this kind of things are not in the best mental condition to make good decisions anyway. So I really don't know what to say.
I mean, honestly, like the whole concern about all these transgender people, I think it's just basically bullshit from the right-wing people, because there are so many women and girls and whatever who go through like surgery while they're teenagers, plastic surgery, which is like kind of accepted from
that's also
society in general, and nobody like is like talking about it. Like they're just like, oh yeah, of course, like it's completely normal for like a 12-year-old to go through like to cut a what in your eye, so that you have like double eyelids.
Do you know what's really creepy about like white America?
What?
The child beauty pageants.
Oh yeah, and nobody fucking talks about that.
I think that should really be something that they absolutely need to talk about.
Nobody talks about the fact that
how many child beauty pageant contestants were like kidnapped and murdered over the years.
Not even that. Right now on social media, on IG, on like TikTok, there are parents who are just pimping out their kids. All right, kids who are like 3 years old, 4 years old, they dress them up indecently, and then they make them do like weird poses, and then they make them eat stuff that is phallic looking, and then they have like private pages where people who subscribe can fucking like request for things, and then they sell their used clothing to these men. Nobody's talking about it, right? So shut up with your fucking false concern about children, okay? Shut the fuck up.
You know why? Sounds like radical acceptance to me. These people really radically accept child pageantry.
Where is the part about not harming others? Where's the part about not harming others?
Well,
You
it's
are actively harming your
radical
child.
acceptance. Well, if you don't
by the way, right?
if you don't radically accept these children in their child pantry, they might put a real dick down their mouths.
By the way, right, there's this whole thing on TikTok right now that I'm following about this mother who is pimping out her child called Ren something, WREN. And her whole entire page, right, is just basically her daughter doing all sorts of weird shit, you know. And there's this video of this kid, right, like accidentally swallowing like chewing gum or something, and I think being coaxed to say, "Oh, I accidentally swallow it. Is it okay?" You know, and then like so many people.
Why are you watching all these things on TikTok?
I'm not watching it. I'm watching other people react to this. So there has been this whole movement of people.
What the fuck? I mean, I've been on TikTok quite a lot. None of this gets onto my.
That's why
For You
America
page.
wants to ban TikTok, man. Get it banned. Just get the fucking thing banned. Burn it
No,
down.
but because like there are so many people like flagging this, and the account is still up. And you know what? Like the mother, right, is so fucked up because she only posts the daughter. She doesn't post very much about herself. So, you know, and she made a video about like, you know, the FBI has been in contact with me and told me that on the dark web they have found no material of my daughter, like bullshit lah, you know. So anyways.
Oh wait, this one I think I heard on the news. This dark web thing, you mentioned the dark web thing, and I'm just like suddenly jogs my memory a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that there's been this uprise of like this uptrend of people that post suggestive images of their child so that
Yeah.
people on the dark web can deep fake them, right? Or like
Not just
sexual,
that. So you know what is the problem? I think the problem is that a lot of these users, right, apparently have been spotlighted, or like there are a lot of sites being taken down. So what is happening now, right, is that they are going on to these like social media sites where parents post innocuous, innocent looking but suggestive videos or photos, so that these guys can go look at and then imagine or like do like deep fake shit instead of like going to the dark web or actually looking at child porn. So yeah, great. Why is nobody talking about this? Why? Because nobody gives a fuck, honestly. You just want to have your talking points about, the leftists are like fucking crazy.
Who is the you? Which is the you you're talking
Anybody who's like overly concerned about the transgender movement are really.
about? Oh, you mean like
essentially.
me lah, for
Yeah.
example. So
Is it not true?
You think that I don't care about these kids getting pimped out on the dark web?
I think it's essentially like this. Again, this is a new technology. Social media is a new technology. We are seeing a rise of children. So, how long has Facebook been in existence?
I think like
10
12 years.
10
13
years plus,
2007.
So what has, or YouTube. So what has happened, right, is that in the past there was, even now, there are a lot of like family vlogs where, the parents kind of pimp out their kids on social media, not sexually, but they are making family content and then, performing forcing their kids to perform online. And this used to be like an okay thing because we're all like, oh, look at the little family. It's so family safe content. And as the kids grew up, there has been a huge rise in the kids, cutting contact with the family because they said that, we were exploited as a child. I have no privacy. All my shit is now on the internet without consent. And my parents were earning big bucks from it.
But what does that have
there
to
was
do
no-
with your assertion that
No, I'm just saying that.
because I'm particularly focused on the transgender stuff, then I don't care about the kids.
I'm just saying that any new thing will have good and bad stuff, right? And
But that doesn't that gets us nowhere. Like, you're saying that like this is a non-statement. Every new thing have good and bad stuff. Now Jerry, you voice over. Okay, every new thing have good and bad stuff. Thank you very much, Angie, for that insightful.
which is
wisdom.
my
Holy
point
shit.
of like when it goes to the extreme, there will be intervention, which is
But
what
I
is
don't-
happening now, which is the
but-
WPATH leak, which is why people will look into this and correct.
Yeah, but I don't
it.
understand the assertion that like your whataboutism of like, oh, if you care about the transgender kid, then after you don't care about this one other thing, then therefore. And by the way, I've done this in the
It's
past.
basically what you say about Palestine. Why you care about the Palestinians, but you don't care about like Gaza. You don't care about like Sudan. You don't care about Congo.
No, but that's
you don't care
like
about this shit.
that's to do
No,
with
it's
like
because you got
principled-
brainwashed by Hamas.
No, that's like principled stance that people assert that they are talking about. But I'm not talking about like a principled stance. I'm not like saying that universally children must be protected. I'm not making that assertion.
Wait, you're not.
I'm saying that.
Wait, you're saying that children shouldn't be protected universally?
Wait, hang on. Don't do this. Are you saying this? The
You
fucking
literally just said it.
no. listen to what I have to say carefully. I'm not taking a principled stance when I'm talking about this discussion about some universal child protection thing. This is not the conversation at all. The conversation is very purely about gender affirming care being quack science, being like complete fucking dog shit. This is the assertion that I'm making. Nothing to do with child pageantry, nothing to do with like children being protected. Look, I'm all for like kids being protected. I'm trying to be a father myself, okay?
Are you? Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I absolutely am. So don't be like, I don't care about kids or whatever. This is not the point of the conversation, right? And then don't throw about this like, if you're right wing and then you talk about transgender, then therefore you don't care about this. That is just like it's just
okay,
it's a logical fallacy.
You listen to my point. My point is every new technology, every new medical intervention.
It's not new. It's like it's at least from the 1960s. Some of it goes back to even like pre-World War II. Like
wait.
The reason
Listen
that the
to
Nazi was burning books, right? Was one of the books was like the transgender stuff. Okay, even back in the 1940s, this was going on. This is not new technology.
The activism that. So we all established that there was a pre and post activism, right? There was a pre-period where people were actually getting the real guards and the safety guards that they need, and then the activism came in and it went off the rails because all these people are getting like gender affirming care.
There's no delineation here between what is quote unquote activism. You're just trying to shove everything into like one box and then say, this box is to blame. But this is not the case, right?
Of course,
it's all muddled in together with the cultural, with the medical, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, but you can see where the activism came in and where it became like less science-based and more like, feelings-based, right?
Yeah, but that once again, nothing to do with child pageantry, nothing to do with universal childcare protection, nothing like you.
But the thing of it is that anywhere in history that you look at, okay, within whatever time period, like new or not new, whatever you want to put the time frame or period as, you'll see that there will be advancements after a certain period of adjustment. And we are currently in an adjustment phase.
I don't think that is true. Like you have no supporting evidence for that claim. Like you're just making assertion.
Do you take mercury for your medication now? Are you eating mercury right now? Are you eating
nothing
mercury?
to do
they
with,
used to prescribe mercury to people.
Nothing to do with gender affirming care. Don't talk about mercury shoving down my throat. Okay, we are not shoving mercury down transgender kids' throats.
Yeah, they used to do it to
Let's
people.
go look at chat, see what's happening.
Okay, so okay. Charlene, gaslight, gatekeep, girl boss. Okay, that's social engineering. Nowhere near. Okay, that's from Clipper. Meow. Bo play photo is
that's
Clipper.
That's probably him. Yeah.
Chill, Angie. Jesus. Okay, gender affirming care sounds a lot like quack science. Thank you very much for that. Society have no problem with people can be who they are. Don't know. Okay, why not though? I don't even accept myself. Okay, Charlene, I don't know. Pop off, Angie. Okay, so we both have like supporter, one of each. The worst thing is the amount of saves for TikTok. Okay, so blog user. Kids dancing sexily and twerking, basically aping adults' entertainment, and everyone is okay with it. I was quite shocked at the amount of sensuality on TikTok. Okay. Is Anna having a panic attack?
She's not in the room. She's not in the room.
Anna is not in the room with us right now.
There's nothing new. It's just the same old thing on new platform. I'm on the fence. Okay. We need to obligatory show Jerry on the fence. Okay. Anyway, look, this one, we just treat it as spirited debate. I'm not accusing Angie of anything. I hope that Angie is not accusing me of things either, but I'm not accusing Angie of anything. Okay,
nobody's accusing anybody.
I'm just saying that this WPATH file thing, right, should be taken more seriously than what it is right now, and
I think it is being taken seriously,
which is why that I wanted to highlight this particular thing. And like I said, there is a local context to it, and I hope that the local context eventually will change their tune in line with the new leaks lah. Okay,
I think the only thing for me is the fact that like where do you place blame, because right now as the gender detransition lawsuits come in, a lot of them are actually suing the clinic. But I think that there's a bit of unfairness in there because a lot of these practitioners
They just
are kind of forced.
they just follow each other only.
Yeah, I mean, they have no guidelines. Basically, there are no guidelines, and they are kind of pressured by the advocacy groups to kind of just, put these people through like the HRT, like surgery kind of train. But then the advocacy groups don't get any blame whatsoever for the lawsuits. So I think that's, for me, is where is the most interesting part, right? Because
Jerry, where do you think they should put the blame?
Where should the blame be put?
Both sides.
Both sides. Yeah, I mean, as medical professionals, you have to be like, okay, hey, we don't agree with you, but there are a lot of them are just too afraid to say anything.
You have to take a principled stance, lah. If your Hippocratic oath is to ensure the survivability and the well-being,
Hippocratic oath is
well-being,
do no harm. That's the main thing. Not about survivability or.
Do no harm, right?
But the harm is like, how do you quantify harm?
It's like
so they do have like actual quantifiable ways of doing it, but I'm not going to go too much into it. But you can actually measure harm. Anyway, Jerry, please continue.
No, but that's the point, right? If you're a medical professional, and your job is to ensure the quality healthcare is being given or provided, right? And if certain procedures, even if it's against the client's, the patient's wishes, if certain procedures are not done in order to maintain the health,
the integrity, basically,
and the physical integrity of the patient, then it should not be done. It's like there should be more investigation. The primary healthcare physician, right, the family physician, should be the one talking to the parents and talking to the family and getting everyone involved. Say, hey, this is not a good idea. Maybe you can hold off, or maybe we can get a better understanding, do more tests or whatever. I mean, of course, there's always people who are saying that, hey, doctors always demand more tests or whatever. Is it, you're trying to get more money out of us? I mean, there's that aspect. Definitely some doctors like that. But for the most part, doctors are a little bit like detectives, right? They don't know the answers until they get tests. And it also depends on the test. If the labs that they send samples to is not trustworthy, then they're getting wrong results that could lead to wrong diagnosis as well.
So you're saying that the doctors should be blamed, lah?
No. I'm saying that the doctors is the front line, right? So they can only act based off advice if they're not experienced. But at the same time, they also need to draw a line somewhere. And actually, I don't know who's to blame. How can we, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a judge, I'm not a jury. We should let it be fought out in the courts.
Right. But I don't know. I think what needs to happen is probably more people stepping out to share their stories of transition or detransition so that people can... Okay, one thing that I really think is detrimental about social media is that a lot of... I've seen quite a few TikToks where people are like, hey, if you're this, and you feel this is this, you might be trans. Or you might be ADHD, or you might be blah blah blah. Okay?
Why are you pointing at me? You might be ADHD.
Because I'm holding the mic with my left hand, and this
just
is the
to be clear, I'm not ADHD. Okay, I'm not trans either.
This is the only hand I have to point. Okay, so I mean, and young people don't do research. They don't go on their own and actually really, really, really dig into it. And not just teens, I think adults in general, humans in general, right? There are plenty of women who have done BBL surgery and then they regretted it because, they didn't know of all the complications that might happen afterwards. Or, girls who shave their face down and then they are like, oh my God, I'm having so much issues with my facial nerves and blah, blah, blah. And to me, it's insane that you would do all these surgeries without actually really looking into it. I've got this friend, right, this girlfriend, she's a bit of a bimbo lah. Then one time she flew off to Thailand.
Why you going to
on a whim, she did plastic surgery on her nose. And when she went into I asked her about the process. I said, oh, how do you know what to do? She's like, I don't know. I just went in there and then I told the doctor I wanted to do my nose. Then the doctor was like, what you want to do? She said, I don't know. And she just left it up to the doctor. And she came back with a crooked nose. Okay? And I'm just like, bro. And she's a very, very fucking beautiful woman. She's one of the most beautiful girls I know. And all the men are salivating over her type of beauty. And I'm just like, please do your research before you do any alterations to your body, okay?
Actually, I'm very curious, Angie. Where do you think the blame lies? You must have mulled over this issue quite a lot, right? And Like just based on your opinion, I'm asking for your opinion.
I think like there needs to be equal parts blame.
Wait, hang on. Okay, continue talking.
In this
No,
case,
I'm not.
yeah.
I just want NG equal parts blame. Okay, let's.
I really think that. Okay, so as a medical professional, right, you are kind of bound by the laws that governs wherever you practice, and I think that in some states, like gender affirmation, there's the level of it, right? If you are a practitioner and you decline gender affirming care, for example, like you only say, okay, yes, I believe you, you might be penalized, you might have your license taken away. So I can't really say it's 100% on the practitioner, but at the same time, like you cannot blame the advocacy groups totally also, because it comes from a place where, you know, they used to have a lot of opposition for getting medical treatment, because like I guess like if you have a transphobic doctor, they will just say that no, this is not it, it's just, you know, your whatever. So I think there needs to be equal parts blame, but I think it's easier to sue the doctors than to sue like a advocacy group, unfortunately, because it's very hard to be like John said, like you can't really, because it's all mixed in the social zeitgeist, right? So you can't really say like, okay, which group to blame, which group has the most power in this advocacy to push these different laws, right? So I don't know. And should it be like suing individuals within the group? Because of course, like some individuals have more power, more social influence than others, right? So I don't know. I just feel like doctors, the clinics are unfairly getting all the blame in these lawsuits, unfortunately.
In the case of your friend, I think the doctor has to be blamed, because the patient went in not knowing what to do, and instead of doctors saying, hey, you know what, maybe you should go and figure out what you really want, then we can come down and have a conversation about how we can get what you want, right? But instead the doctor was just like, okay, it's money, you know. I think in your friend's case, the doctor.
But I mean, plastic surgery has always been about money, right? Like, you know, there's this scandal in South Korea because so many people are flying to South Korea to get plastic surgery.
Like the same 5 plastic surgeons. That's why they all look the same.
But the thing is, right, because you go to the very fucking famous surgeon, right? So, and of course, everybody wants to have these surgeons, but of course, like they only have the same 24 hours in their day as anybody else. So what happened, right, was that there are a lot of ghost doctors.
Yeah, we talk about this in one of our other streams,
so,
right?
Yeah, but like, you know, the thing is, right, like I followed this influencer a couple years ago and she started out looking normal, like a normal human being.
Oh my
and
God.
slowly she started going to do a lot of like plastic surgery, and then all her friend circle started going to do plastic surgery, and then now she's leading tours to South Korea to do plastic surgery. I think that's like a fucking crazy thing, you know, like that this is completely okay that human beings are so terribly unhappy with how they look that they, you know, take a fucking knife to their faces to change it, and they say, oh, it's all self-love and, you know, self-care, and mutilate yourself in...
Yeah, like some time ago I overheard this from someone. It says that, you know, oh, why do South Koreans put in so much effort into their face and their looks and their clothes and everything? And it's like, hey, you know, taking care of myself and putting my best version of me forward is you know, is giving you respect. Is because I come to you, you know, as the best form of myself to present to you. You know, this is giving you respect, giving you the time of day. I put in so much effort for myself for you. You know, like,
this
dude,
is in fact the best type of self-care, which is I care for you.
Yeah, exactly. You know, yeah.
So in fact, it is not self-care; it is care for others. You see, in fact, I am endlessly empathetic to the point where everyone who interacts with me must have endless, you know, pleasant experiences. Otherwise, I have failed humanity.
I
You see,
put in so much for myself for you.
I have devoted my life to making your interactions with me 100% pleasant. Okay.
I think the other thing is also like, I mean, we are going off this trend of people, right? Like, so, you know, there used to be like a very huge body positivity movement where
There still is.
No, wait. Like where they are like a lot of obese influencers telling you, oh, self-love, like whatever. So like in the past year or so, there have been a lot of these influencers who have
Cut the
slowly
casket.
died it.
Just blew the gasket.
And I guess this is the sort of correction that I'm talking about. Like, you know, they go off the rails to say that, you know, like there's no such thing as obesity. You can have health at every size. And then when you finally see the fact of the matter is that there is no health at every size, and the people that you used to look up to slowly fucking like having heart attacks and dying, then you kind of know in your heart that that's not true, right? Like, so, and then of course now there's still a body positivity movement, but there's this new not really new lah, this has been going around for a while. It's called the body neutrality movement, where you don't feel any particular thing about your body. You don't have to love it, you just have to accept it, which is, I think, a lot healthier than saying that you have to love your body at any size.
You mean like how the human society have been for the last 3,000 years?
Yes and no lah, I guess. No, because like the whole idea of self-love and body positivity had been pushed for like the longest time. I think at least for 10 years or so, or maybe more than that. I can't quite remember like when it started. But you know, like a lot of girls are indoctrinated growing up that you need to love yourself, but at the same time you need to like fucking diet and eat all these kind of stupid shit to fit like the society standards. So you know, everyone grew up with the idea that you have to love yourself and you are like a queen, you slay, blah blah blah. But the truth is, not everybody is beautiful. Not everybody has like won the genetic lottery. And I think it's okay to accept the fact that you're not the best looking person, right? Like just live with yourself and be like, okay, fine, you know, I've got other attributes and characteristics that make me me, right? So
I think this one
you don't have to be beautiful.
from, like the hippie period, like the 60s, 70s.
Yeah.
And then there was you know, they're trying to get kids to come out of their shell a bit more, because, you know, I guess during that period of time, 1960s, 1970s,
1900s,
right? Yeah, it's they're trying to get kids to come out of their shell, you know, just try to not conform, and that kind of just evolve and devolves into something else.
Which part of the 1900s are you talking about?
1960s and 1970s.
Like 1900s very different. You okay? Be like 1910 or like 1990.
Yeah, I just
very
learned
different.
this new thing from Gen Zers, right? It's like, oh, you are born in the 1900s. You know, it's like, oh yeah,
Technically you are.
thanks
Technically
for
I
making
am.
me feel old. Yeah, you know, and the guys who are born in 1999 are just like live it. You know?
You know what's really funny? It's like if you live long enough, you'll see everything comes back in a cycle.
Yeah.
Like there are kids who are bringing back floppy disks.
Yes.
And I'm just like, the fuck for
Polaroids.
Polaroid. I mean, Polaroids, it's never
Taking
really
film,
gone away.
They're going back to film.
I mean, even during my period, it was kind of like that. We had the digital, and then like, you know, millennials were like, oh my god, Lomo camera, blah blah blah.
No. Like I saw this. Was it a TikTok or something the other day? There's this kid who's like, oh, you know, trying to describe a film camera to the mom. You know, and he's like,
please.
yeah, he's trying to describe the film camera to the mom, right? Then the mom was like, oh, okay, they're trying to describe a film camera? And he's like, what's a film camera? And then he's like, I don't have one now. then the mom go and call the aunt. Then the aunt, the next time she came over to visit, she bought a film camera, and he was so blown away. He's like, oh my god, this thing is 30 years old, 40 years old.
This thing is older than you are.
It's older than us.
Oh, you know what I was damn shocked by? I was thinking to myself, right, because there were like quite a few new film cameras that look very sexy that is coming out from Fujifilm or whatever. I was like, oh my god, that's so cute. I want to buy one and go play around with it. And then I go look at the camera. The camera itself is not so expensive. The film.
Yes, the film's expensive.
One canister of film that used to cost like a couple of dollars.
Yeah.
Now it's like what, $20?
$3-4. Yeah, that's $20.
There was never a time where film was a couple of dollars. I mean, unless you're talking about the 1900s, okay? Like, bro,
No,
like
it was
when,
like $5-6.
what,
in my
what,
time.
Wait, what film are you? You're talking about the
35
35
35mm lah.
It was when back then when everyone was manufacturing.
Yeah.
Once
Yeah.
the digital
80s,
camera
yes.
comes
Yeah.
about,
Yeah.
there was never.
No, in my time it was still like $5,
When we were
$6.
kids, it was $5-6.
No. In poly, when I was in, I don't know when you kid lah, but when I was in poly, because I remember spending my money, so much of my money on it. But like the film itself was $5-6, and I used to go to Peninsula Plaza to buy like a fucking huge box because I was taking photography major. But luckily we don't have to pay for the developing because we were doing the developing ourselves. So now I don't know if the $20-something or $30-something is together with the development or you have to pay another sum.
The development is a separate
Yeah.
price.
$20 for 30-something photos, right?
Yes.
Nuts, eh? Or is it 24 photos? I don't know.
Depends. I mean, the roll can be 36 or whatever.
That's so insane, eh?
Okay, let's read
Like
some
all these
of
kids
the
got so much money, eh?
comments.
It's
Okay.
also inflation.
Yeah, well.
The funny thing is, in this trends issue, so heavily focused in the US and not much else in the rest of the
Yeah,
world.
I mean, not just the US, the EU as well, but the rest of the world, I don't think so. And also in Bangkok, right, like it's a whole different sort of mentality towards transgender people, right? So, I mean, what we are discussing today, is, I'm just saying hi to the cat who's under the camera. What was I saying?
Transgender people in Bangkok.
Yeah, it's a very different sort of mentality with how they treat trans people. You know, for example, the word lady boy is kind of okay to use in Thailand, but if you say it in the US or EU, like they might think they are like you're a transphobe. So what we are discussing here is really more like a Western Hemisphere sort of thing, I guess.
Okay, would like to know if Jerry's cats are here. Well,
They are. They
They
just
are
came
here.
in. So
Yeah.
cute. Is that Brownie?
That's bad.
Beth. Oh, okay.
and nice hair, John. Oh yeah, thank you very much. Okay, in
What?
SG, if you want to even start hormone replacement therapy, you need to go to IMH. You got to go for multiple sessions first before the psych signs off, the psychiatry signs off. Then you can go and get HRT. Private-wise, only a few in SG are willing to sign off.
I mean, even for
okay.
Singapore, the private is guided by MOH. So if you want to keep your license, you better fucking listen to what they say.
Have you seen Rosma? Her skin is so. You know the thing about Rosma, right? Is that
Najib's wife, right?
wife.
Yeah.
She used to be so beautiful. Like if
Yeah,
you look at
she
her,
was.
right, in her youth, right,
She's
she's
actually
so
very pretty.
beautiful,
Yeah.
insane. And then like I think the evil just came out of her as she aged, and also plastic surgery.
The
I
plastic
guess.
surgery.
It's a
yes.
plastic surgery.
No, but I honestly feel that like who you are as a person shows on your face in your later years. There are people who are not so good looking.
Are
but
you saying
very
that
kind.
Rosma used to be a good person?
No. As you age, by the time that you are like in your 40s or 50s, right? Because the way that you use your facial muscles, right? If you, for example, frown a lot, they will have like certain muscles or wrinkles that indicate, you know, how you use your muscles. They are like people who smile a lot, and then they have a lot of like smile lines, and their face is very happy, you know, that sort of thing.
But you know, evil people can smile also, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Those are the lucky people.
Just so you know.
Those are the lucky people. Those who look real good and get away with doing evil shit.
But honestly speaking, right, like I think in terms of plastic surgery, I feel people need to just fucking age gracefully, because you know there's nothing better to look at than someone who accepts who they are and just be comfortable in their own skin. You know, seriously, like there. I've seen some friends who have made it, right, and they're starting to do some work, and I'm like, yeah, you know, you realize you could just, you know, you don't have to be in that job that makes you $3 million a year, and maybe you have less wrinkles.
You know what's the solution to all of this?
Right.
Just don't look into the mirror.
You have no mirrors at home, right? Yeah.
I seldom look into the mirror because every time I look in the mirror, I feel so terrible. Like right now, I have a lot of like smile lines that's developing, and then my skin is no longer as elastic as when I was young.
Yeah, of course.
And I just don't look into the mirror. If I don't see it, I don't know it, right? But you know what's really funny? There's this trend going on TikTok right now where they are saying that Gen Z is aging worse than millennials.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And I think a lot of it is
It's
because
facts.
I think a lot of it is because they do. I mean, at least for influencers, a lot of them have done anti-aging surgeries like Botox and whatnot, and then it's just aged very poorly because they've done all these procedures at a very young age when it's meant for women in their 30s and 40s.
Yeah.
So right now they're looking so fucking weird, like
So
you know
Anna,
Kylie Jenner.
Yeah. Anna was telling me that, you know, there's a lot of TikTok, like just going back to TikTok again, why Americans are trying to ban it, right? So TikTok is they have a lot of those beauty and makeup influencers. They're peddling shit to Gen Zers and maybe even Gen Alphas, and then they're basically what? That's Boba trying to get out. Yeah, here's Boba. So anyway, what happens is the TikTok influencers, right, are peddling all these things that are meant for 30, 40-year-old, you know, people with lower collagen and a worse skin, and they're basically saying that, hey, you can put this and your skin will look better. And then these Gen Zers and this Gen Alphas, right? They're like trying to get their moms to buy these kind of things for them. It's like, oh yeah, and the mothers are like, I buy, I can use, and they can use also. But the thing is, right, these chemicals, right, when you put them on your skin, it doesn't hurt your skin, but
it deteriorates it, I think.
No, it doesn't deteriorate it. The problem is your body starts to think that, oh, there's so much of these chemicals already. I don't have to produce. And when your body gets to the point where I don't have to produce it, by the time you get to the age where your body is naturally still producing it, the factory shuts off, and then they start aging rapidly from like 20s.
And not just that.
Oh, wait, just give me a second. If the stream is still lagging, let us know. Okay, Angie, please continue.
Not just that, and it's also the fact that your skin barrier keeps getting irritated at a very young age. There's this whole thing on TikTok about like how 10-year-old kids are going to Sephora and buying really expensive skincare, Drunk Elephant, whatever, and then they're using it on their skin. And then you know what? Like there are dermatologists coming on to TikTok and showing their patients who are like 10-year-old kids or 8-year-old kids with like inflamed skin. The whole point of women like myself, in our 30s, using these chemicals is because we want to look like kids. You want the bouncy, natural radiance of a child. And these kids are having inflamed skin from using these actives.
They want to look like a 30-year-old version of themselves.
They're actives. They're called actives.
So basically, right, I was at Sephora the other day, and then I saw a bunch of teenagers in their school uniform. And you know what was so shocking? These teenagers were doing a full-on makeup session at Sephora. They were using the testers. I know. We just lived through a pandemic. They were using a tester, like lip gloss, straight onto their lips. They were using eyeshadow straight on their eyes. And I'm like, girl, you realize that you can get an infection? Let's not even talk about the sharing of germs and we just had COVID and there's still COVID going around. You can really get an infection from the bacteria in testers. I don't even know what's going on anymore.
You're supposed to test it on your hand or shit.
You know what? Now that I look at them, right, I don't even dare to use the testers on my hand because I'm just I'm not touching that shit, man. I'm not gonna pay $40 or $50 for something.
Just get a sampler and do it at home.
No. Nowadays, I just go straight to the makeup counter, Shiseido or whatever. I just go to Tangs or Isetan and go straight to the counter because they don't do it there. They only do it at places like Sephora.
Okay, if you want to change your IC now, you have to do both top and bottom surgery. Wow, this one is
That's very
totally
terrible,
new
though.
for me. Yeah, this one I have to say very
I don't
excessive.
agree with it. Yeah.
This one seems.
Why are you forcing people to do it?
This one seems super. And by the way, it also purely benefits men as well because they don't have top surgery per se, right?
Huh? Don't they have?
I think for a lot of guys, once
Don't
they
they
start
have to do boobs?
once they start estrogen, right, they'll develop some amount of
a little
boobs.
bit,
But
And
a
then
lot
once
of them still want bigger ones though.
I mean, if you can just quantify, mine are A cups, right? Then after you don't have to do surgery, you kind of save on the cost. So you see, it's the patriarchy looking out for us. You see,
Is bottom surgery for women worse than for men?
I think they're both equally bad.
I think
they both seem equally bad. I think for women it's slightly worse because
you have to construct something out of it. Yeah.
Right.
Because they have to take out a lot more material from outside, which is the thigh area and whatever. It's quite horrendous lah. But
but I think that's really terrible though.
Yeah. Okay. Nice pun, Angie. Fat of the matter.
Sure.
Okay. If a person undergoes plastic surgery in order to look as good as possible for the benefit of everyone they meet, then this has to be said. Thank you, John Cat, for looking so handsome. Thank you, Natalie.
Everybody
Stop.
just simping for John. What's going on?
Okay, stop. No,
What?
stop. Natalie, stop.
No, Natalie, do not stop. Please carry on.
Stop.
Okay, if everyone is a queen, nobody is a queen. 60, okay. Anyway, Slay. I think this one she's supporting you, so you have your own little fan club as well. Kids are going back to CDs and mini DVDs now.
What is a mini DV? I don't even know what a mini DV is.
They are buying mini DV recorders. Yeah.
Is that the really small cassette looking thing?
Yeah. Anyway, Kodak film was priced around $480 to get a roll.
Yeah,
I
see?
have the receipts.
I was right.
Yeah, I remember Konica was like $3.60 or something.
Oh my god, I miss those days. I wish I bought like a whole fucking box of it that I can sell right now.
Okay, so we have some more. Okay, won't kids mixing drunk elephant with foundation cream and applying? Not just bottom. There's also removal of reproductive organs and sewing up. Female to male more complex.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's what I heard
Women
as
are
well,
just
yeah.
screwed over every
Women,
time.
yeah.
Every fucking time.
by society, by the patriarchy, and by God. And this is proof that God is a man. Okay, absolute proof. Okay.
Oh well. Are we going to talk about Singaporeans being the happiest?
Aren't you happy, Angie?
Clearly not.
Aren't you like ranked around 30th in the world in terms of happiness?
Huh? Are we?
Yeah.
Am I?
Are you? Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Me?
one of us have to be, right?
Why is it 30th?
Actually, okay, one of us, you can be 45, then I can be 15th, then we are average 30th.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
sure.
So, Jerry, how happy do you feel? How happy do you feel right
On
now?
a scale of 1 to 40. I don't even know.
Arbitrary scale is
I don't
that?
know.
One
He
to-
just like suddenly give me 40, so I say 40 or 1
I
to
don't
40.
know, 7.
Wait. Is one
Seven
the
is what?
One
Yeah.
is the happiest or 40 is the happiest?
Guess 1 is the happiest.
Also, you're actually
quite
pretty happy, yeah?
I'm
Pretty
quite
happy,
happy,
yeah.
Of course, you have 3 cats. Of course, you would be happy.
I need more money, but otherwise I'm pretty happy. Boba, stop it.
I am a cat lady who has no cat, so I'm very unhappy. So I'm
You
like
need to get
40.
that rectified.
Yes.
Yeah, you should talk to Jerry about that. Get that rectified.
You want Boba? I'll give you Boba.
No. Okay, I don't want an orange cat.
Why not? Orange cat are great.
No, I cannot stand the craziness. I think I
Okay.
might go crazy myself.
If he's just one cat, I think he's okay. Yeah. Boba.
I have come to realize that my preference in cats are the cats who don't like me.
Is that like your preference in men as well?
No, I have no preference in
John,
men
John.
anymore.
Oh, okay. The cats are here.
Boba, that's Boba you're
Yeah,
seeing
that's
right now.
Boba,
Isn't he cute?
Boba
back
is the
to the
most shy
pens.
one. Oh no, the Timbuktu
No.
Zoom meeting illusion is over. No.
Yeah, okay, there you go.
Okay. So yeah. Anyway,
Anyways.
apparently we are ranked number 30th in terms of the happiness index. Okay, which is
You mean the global one?
global one.
Okay.
We in fact have dropped 5 places since last year. We were
Surprise.
25th last year. Now we have dropped to 30th.
Is this part of our KPI? Is this part of the government's KPI?
I don't think so.
Damn.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Same.
But here is the absolute massive copium, right, that the Singapore media is huffing. Okay, what is the story they're running on? We might
are
be
the-
30th, but we are the top
In
in
Asia.
Asia. Okay.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
It
We're
means,
so fucking happy. The happiest Asians,
that
okay?
means all of Asia is unhappy.
You know why not? You know why? Because we had the Taylor Swift concert. Because all the other like Southeast Asian countries are so unhappy about not having Taylor Swift in their country.
We have just
That's why
entang-
we are the happiest. Thank you, Taylor Swift.
we have just antagonized all our ASEAN neighbors again.
Yeah, that's
Basically,
why.
no Taylor Swift, no we're having Taylor Swift, having Coldplay, having F1 is the reason why we're not lower than 30 lah.
I don't know about F1, man.
Maybe
I mean-
F1 is like driving it down.
I mean, if you're talking about F1, meaning like how we strap Taylor Swift onto the car, maybe. But like F1 in general, I think, okay, that's the thing. I don't think F1 increases the happiness of the general average Singaporean. Most people like bitch about it. But with Taylor Swift, I think it's more like half and half. There are people who are happy about Taylor Swift, even if they're not Taylor Swift fans or even if they're not watching the concert.
Such as myself.
Yeah, like
I'm
me.
always happy for economic activity. Just like stimulates
yeah.
everyone.
And then there are, of course, the people who are like, Taylor Swift is trash. But, you know, I think Taylor Swift generated more happiness than F1, for sure.
Taylor Swift might generated more for the retail and hotels in Singapore than F1.
Yeah, and also I think like the trickle-down effect is more obvious because the profile of the tourists who come in are the people who would patronize the average hawker center or whatever, whereas for F1, right, it is more of the high cess people who go into like luxury shops and then buy like shit stuff that the average Singaporean would never buy, and then so the average Singaporean would not benefit. At least that's my take.
I don't know if that is true. I'm just gonna take your word for it, Angie.
I'm just saying shit out from my ass.
I've doubted you enough this stream. I'm gonna keep doing it without any particularly
At
good
least that's
reason.
my take on it. I'm not rich enough to go watch F1.
I guess the main thing with this particular article or this like global happiness index, right, is that people are just like calling out this bullshit lah, for lack of better term.
Singaporeans are really unhappy that we are first in happiness in Asia.
Yeah.
That's
I
the
think
crux
they
of
are
it.
not even like sure that we are 30th in the world. They feel like we have to be at least like I don't know 67, because that's like the go-to anti PAP people, right? Which is what, 61 or 66
Why,
or something. It's like the number of people voted for PAP. The last one was 61%, which was the lowest.
No, but I think it's just so hilarious that people are so unhappy over us claiming the top spot or the 30th spot.
I mean,
Singaporeans are just like, what the fuck?
hang on. Right. So now the thing is, right, we know for a fact that we are number one in Asia, right? And what okay, I'm gonna do a very Dan Wong thing. Okay, so can we all talk about some things that we are happy about or would make Singapore, the happiest place in Asia? In your opinion.
Like personal or on a larger scale?
Up to you both.
What would make me happy?
Or rather, what do you think has made Singaporeans happy enough that we can claim the top spot in Asia?
Actually, I think in general, okay. I think people complain a lot, but even our poor people is still richer than a lot of the rich people in other countries.
Agreed. I think we complain a lot on the LongKangKitties.
Yeah.
But in general, I think our efficiency and the way, our transportation, blah, 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 all of that is, in general, we have it pretty good in Singapore. Plus, we are sheltered from natural disasters.
Yep.
Okay, touch wood. I don't want like suddenly got earthquake or what.
But,
which is not possible because we are not on a tectonic plate.
I mean, there's a lot to fix, of course, in Singapore society, but I think by and large we had it pretty good. And I think I also count myself as one of the blessed one that I didn't have to grow up in a generation where I have to like sweat and toil in the fucking dirt and mud in order to build Singapore to where it is. I'm kind of just like reaping the benefits of the labours of my forefathers.
Thank you, the pioneer generation.
Yeah.
Thank you, the
Merdeka
generation. We appreciate you and thank you for your contributions to the country.
So I think that's generally the thing that I'm quite happy about.
I think what would improve, you said, is it? What would improve? More cats. More cats are always good.
Sorry, I want to qualify that. Please, no more stray cats.
Yes.
There's just too many fucking strays.
Yes.
No more strays.
They're out of control.
No more strays.
And
the backyard breeders can go the fuck off as well.
Yeah,
More justice for animals.
Yeah,
I want like all the animal, what is that called? Animal torturers.
Or
the people who torture
yeah.
animals and do harm to animals to get like way harsher sentencing. I think that would make me very happy. Make me extremely happy.
I would also say
I want molesters and rapists to have the death penalty. Or at least have their dicks like physically castrated.
I've
That would
gone
make
on
me
and on about this
happy.
fucking topic like forever. By the way, you have created a new supporter in Gary, which is Clipper,
Yeah.
because this guy forever and ever, every time there's an article about rape,
Death
there's
penalty.
death penalty. He's just
Death
like
penalty.
just
Everything
kill
death
him.
penalty.
Just kill him.
Fuck your human rights, death
Yeah,
penalty.
just kill him.
I agree.
You rape, you die.
Yeah.
You rape, you die.
There's
Simple.
this, I can't remember which country, but recently they passed a law that said that like rapists or pedophiles, I think it's for rapists of children, to have their dicks like cut off. And I support that.
not even chemical castration, like literal
Because
castration.
I think, if I'm not wrong, if I didn't hallucinate it, because I was reading it like at 3 a.m. in the morning, when I should have been sleeping, I think the gist of it was that they
The
think
gist
that...
of it.
The jizz.
He ain't jizzing no
the
more, bro.
jizzing of it.
He's
No more jizz for
jizzing
you, bro.
no more.
No more jizz for you. I think what they said is that chemical castration wasn't doing enough because there are still so many cases of pedophilia or pedophiles raping kids. So they are like, you know what? Fuck that. If you no chichi, no rape. Anyways,
I don't know if that's true as well. But
you can
okay.
rape with
a lot of
things.
things.
Right, I guess.
I would say,
But at least you won't have your chichi to jizz.
yeah, I would say Singapore's happiness rating might be 29, if we get rid of all the UWU birds?
I like the UWU birds.
No.
I fucking hate them.
No, I
I
hate
love
them.
the.
Ever
UWU
since Jerry told me that they are parasitic brood, I hate them even more.
Are they parasitic?
Yeah, they're absolutely.
Yeah.
How?
They are okay. Hang on. I mean,
Are they not native birds?
Yes, they are native. They have a very wide range. They range from Southeast Asia all the way to India, Pakistan, in fact. So the thing is, right, to qualify for the quolls, they are parasitic only to crows. So they do keep down the crow population.
How do they parasite off crows?
Or they lay eggs inside the crow's nest.
Oh, like the what is it called?
Because
cuckoos.
Because they are cuckoos.
What?
Yes, they are cuckoos. They
Yeah, I
are
did
the
not
same.
know that.
They are the same genus. So the chicks hatch like a day or two earlier than the crows, and then they kick the
They
eggs
kick.
off.
They kick out all the eggs, or if they already hatch, they kick out their
Yeah.
so-called brood brothers and sisters.
Yeah, but hey, crows are. I personally, I feel Singapore's national bird should be the myna or the crow. So
I've been trying to befriend the crows in my neighborhood. My grandma.
does it work?
No, okay, so listen to this. My grandma is a Disney princess.
Okay.
She goes downstairs and she feeds the cats and she cleans up after herself. But she also is like a Disney princess to all the other animals, like birds or whatever. And when she goes down, sometimes the birds come to her. And then I'm just like, Amma, how do you do that? I'm trying to befriend the crows in my neighborhood. Then she said, it's because I got a fine for feeding them. She got caught feeding them. But before she got
So
caught,
the birds
she
are
made,
also anti-PAP. They are trying to support the anti-establishment Amma.
so she befriended them before she got caught and got fined for it. So like she was telling me that's how she made friends with the crows. So I said, okay, is there any way I can make friends with them without feeding them? And she's like, no. So I'm very sad.
I like how the chat, right, are just like everyone knows that they are related to the cuckoos.
No,
Except me and Angie. Okay,
I
I knew
didn't
that they
did
were
not
a
know.
parasitic brood, but I had no idea they were related to the cuckoo.
Our listeners are all people of culture,
Yeah,
apparently.
they all
Bird
know
culture,
already.
xiao culture, lan jiao. No, okay. So the thing, you know what is a rabbit hole that I went down a few months ago? There's apparently this thread about how pigeons are terrible nest builders. So
Oh yeah,
I think it was on,
I saw it before,
I think it's
yes.
on Reddit or something where people just take photos of the nest that like pigeons try to build, and generally what you see is like one stick or two branches,
Yeah,
and
it's
then
just awful,
the eggs. And I just fucking love it. Like they try and they fail so terribly. But I've also seen explanations of how it's because that humans have domesticated them for so long that they no longer know how to build nests. They've lost all of their instincts of nest building because we've domesticated them. Then what happened was that after we don't need pigeons for messages or like for carrying whatever, we just abandoned them, and now they're like known as sky rats. Right?
Well,
And
except
they're
for those
pests.
that were
Except for those who cost like 200K or something like that.
those who went for a race in Taiwan, then got imprisoned in India for 8 months for being a Chinese spy.
Yeah. But anyways, that's why pigeons build their nests so terribly. You should really go
But
take a look.
they're still.
They try.
I mean, they're everywhere.
Yeah.
They're still like a pest breed, and they're still like, no matter how poorly they build their nest, a good population of them still like comes through. So it's like they are doing something right.
I mean, they reproduce really well, and there's a lot of resources like garbage for them to eat. One of my ex, he used to when we were in Italy, right? He rented this apartment, and it had like a little balcony, and then pigeons came and laid eggs on the balcony, and I was like, what the fuck is that? And he's like, no, we need to let them, nest, and then like so we can see the little babies. And when the babies finally hatch, right, I was expecting some sort of like fluffy little duckling thing. They're
All birds-
fucking.
It's all naked.
All birds, when they are born, right, they all look like mutant
Yeah.
horror creature from
all
the
naked.
Eldritch
Yeah, I did
dimension.
not know
Yeah.
that before. This was many years ago, Anyways, so like the first time I ever see like a baby bird, I was horrified. I was like, you are like fucking hamsters.
Yeah, they're naked.
You're so
And
ugly.
They
I
are
think only
hideous.
certain species have down feathers, and
Yeah,
the
yeah,
down
yeah.
feathers will sprout very rapidly. It's I don't know. It's I just get rid of the calls.
Yeah. Anyways, I will update you all on my attempts to befriend
You
the
need to give them
crows in
shiny
my
stuff.
neighborhood. Oh no, they are supposed to give you. Okay, so right, like
You
apparently
want to
if-
befriend them so they'll steal things for you, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, you remember you saw the Chinese the Douyin, the guy, he go and pick up money.
The money, right? Just fly
Yeah.
back. No, okay, my whole attempt of like why I want to be friend close, because there's so many in my neighborhood, right, is that I want to be the person where I make a sound, right, the sound that they recognize, they all come flocking, and then it's just like a dark sky of crows over my head. I just want that sort of experience. That's all. I'm not like trying to train them to attack people or anything.
Yeah, okay,
for
sure.
reals.
I got attacked by a crow once.
Oh yeah, same.
They just swooped down,
Yeah.
just like pecked the top of my head. I'm just
I
like,
think
what
there
the
was like
fuck?
a issue in Orchard Road recently, right, where they were attacking people,
Oh,
and
is
I
it?
think it was
It's
nesting
usually
season.
because they are nesting.
Yeah,
Yes.
and then like
Usually.
there were like a series of photographs of people like trying to
Yeah.
like hide
No,
or whatever.
I remember when I was attacked by a crow in Whampoa, right? So this is nearby, and what happened was, instead of walking away or hiding from it, right, I just stood there and I stared at the crow and I pointed at it,
And then it just went away.
and it got a little bit scared, right?
Kiao you even more.
Yeah, and then I pointed at it and said, "Don't fucking do it again," And then when I walked off, the crow actually flew off to attack someone else.
Right.
Yeah, so I think you gotta really challenge them.
The thing is, right, like the crows in Singapore are still kind of small in size. When I went to Japan, right, I was so shocked at how fucking big their crows were.
The
and
European crows are like ginormous.
yeah, and like the way that they crow, right, is so different. The sound, I was so shocked. But anyways, talking about birds attacking people. When I was in Melbourne, they had like this magpie
Magpies,
issue.
yeah.
So, for example, if you're a cyclist and you cycle past their territory or whatever, like sometimes they will swoop down and then attack you, and then a lot of people like get pecked on their helmet while they're cycling, and it's just freaking hilarious. There was a point in my life where my sole entertainment was just watching people getting attacked by magpies.
Videos?
Yeah, the
Yeah,
videos.
there was this one video of this lady putting eyes on her back, and then she cycle, and then the magpie just keeps swooping and whacking her. Then she's
Yeah.
like, "It didn't work, it didn't work, it didn't work." It's
I
fucking
fucking love it.
hilarious. Fucking die, man.
Blog user, I had a young scientist batch for ornithology in primary 6.
I
Pretty
also
sure
had.
cuckoo birds are pretty common knowledge. OMG, my dad helped me with that. Also,
what?
penguins are aquatic flightless birds. What's all this natural
But
science?
we've been talking about
knowledge?
birds for the past 15 minutes, I
Your
think.
dad is a real bro. PY Manjis, okay. They are also known as the wool birds, okay. Yeah, I think it helped with my curiosity. Angie wants to be Tampines Snow White.
I do, actually. I do. I don't want to. Oh, there's this guy in my neighborhood, right? There's this uncle in my neighborhood that I really like. I don't know him, but I always see him, right? He basically feeds the pigeons. And the pigeons like just land on his head, on his shoulder, and he's like just friends with them,
Wow.
But the thing is with this uncle, right, is that he fucking hates human beings. Every time I see him like have a human interaction, right, he just acts like as if the person he's interacting with is the spawn of the devil.
This one is
something
not Disney princess. This one Disney evil queen.
But I love it. I love it.
He was born as a villain already.
He's the pigeon whisperer. It's so cute. Yeah. Anyways, did we really talk about birds for like 15 minutes?
Yes, he did.
Awesome.
Okay. Well, the stream has gone for 2 hours. Y'all have any other topic that y'all want to talk about?
I think we can. Is there anything to talk about with Pritam's case coming up?
Oh, yeah. We don't
Oh
really-
yeah.
Actually, I don't think that's like. I mean, right now it's just he pleads not guilty lah.
yeah.
Then
Yeah.
not bad.
Yeah.
I mean, we also need to wait for like
Can
more
we make
details
like
for the.
bets on this podcast to see whether it comes true?
We do have the bets.
Yeah, we do have the bets channel, Discord, right? Okay.
Yeah, for the audio listeners who are not on the Discord, we have this channel in the Discord which is called Bets or something like that, where we actually place bets.
Yeah.
On real life
who created
happenings.
this channel?
Me.
Yes.
But nobody is listening to my instructions. I say you can only place your bets here and no chat. Then everybody started chatting in the
Well, we
channel.
can just delete the chats.
Yeah, but I mean, never mind. I my prediction is that Pritam Singh will kena a fine, but it's not a big enough fine to
Less than
disqualify.
10,000.
Yeah, to disqualify him for the
Less than
next.
how much?
Less than 10,000.
10.
It'll be like a 8.5k fine.
So
okay,
the thing
okay,
is, right,
okay.
he's charged with 2 counts, and for each count, the maximum is 7k each, I think. And the maximum to disqualify you as an MP is 10k. So I am betting that
and
he will
1 year in prison.
or
And
something like that.
or 1 year, 1 or 3 years in prison, something like that.
Yeah, so my prediction is that he'll catch some fines, but it's not going to be enough to disqualify him in the next GE or
I think if the PAP try to disqualify him on these grounds,
I think riot in the streets,
people will just like flip the shit out. I think they just want to tarnish his reputation. So then from now on, they can just say, you're the guy who lied in parliament and you have zero credibility. But then they kind of want to keep him in parliament for that. Like, it's like having your prisoner of war still alive and kicking, right? And then just like showing everyone like how terrible and pathetic my prisoner is. Instead of just like outright execution, because if you just outright execute, like I think people will just lose their shit. So I'm in 100% agreement with Angie on her bet. So there is in fact no bet.
What's your take, Jerry?
It's hard to say. The thing that I'm actually more interested in is not the outcome. It's more of what's the play going to happen. Because if he's found guilty and he's booted, it's a bit too close to call for an election, to have a by-election, and because it's not just him, right? So Faisal Manap also kena off, right?
No. Faisal is. I don't
they
think
dropped
Faisal
the charges.
I don't think he's charged.
He wasn't charged. Yeah.
Okay. But then Leon Pereira is also the same GRC, right?
No, yes, but he's out already. Right?
Yeah, he's out already. So is if they are down by 2 people, are they still considered capable of running the GRC? Would they not then be triggering a by-election?
Well, I think the election is coming up anyways.
Yeah.
Which is why I think the timing of the court charges will probably be slightly before.
I think so. Yeah. That's kind of the way I'm looking at how they're gonna play it out. That's actually what I'm more interested in, rather than whether or not he's guilty.
No, what I'm interested in is whether Iswaran's case will end before the GE, because he just came back from Aussie, and then you know what, like the netizens are like, wow, he really come back, yeah.
No, I think he has to come back, right?
He has to, but I mean, he could, abscond, I guess.
He has to. No, that
not
guy,
that I'm advocating for him to do so.
The MFA guy also, he came back, what?
Who's the MFA guy?
The guy who sent use the diplomatic bag to go and send Chanel bags on.
Panadol. Yeah, because his friend in China, I don't know who in China, couldn't get Panadol. So yeah, so that guy also came back. Right? He went for holiday in Tokyo, then he came back.
You know what? I just feel so sad for those people. It's like, of all things, right? Panadol. Everybody else in the neighboring.
Of all things, football tickets.
Yeah, like everybody else in the neighboring.
Boots.
Everybody else in our neighboring countries are getting way more substantial things, right? And then ours is like Panadol.
Najib is having a laugh, man. He took what? For all that?
There was this like Malaysian podcast from this guy who he used to be a politician, he used to be an MP. After that he lost the election. After that he started this podcast with another fella, and then basically they were just laughing at us, like, oh my god, this is the level of your
corruption.
MP corruption. Is like, I think you all need to either you all just stamp out corruption entirely, or just take a page from our playbook lah. Like, at least be corrupted for something substantial, Take like $1 billion and abscond with it, like our Najib.
But isn't that a thing for us to be happy about? That our corruption is so pathetic.
Going back to the happiness index, right? Going back to that, look at it this way. Even if small amounts, right, like fucking taking football tickets from someone else, right, is considered corruption, then I think perhaps that goes on the record to say that we're actually really clean, Actually,
yeah. So Clipper was making a comment in the YouTube chat. He said GE most likely in September. I think this is the thing that we can bet on, because nobody can fucking agree on when the GE is going to happen.
Yeah.
Holiday. Yeah. Definitely will be holiday.
Why is it
they mobilize the teachers.
I've taken a look at this extensively, okay? Except for the 2011 GE, all previous GEs are held in June, July, August. All of them. Only the 2011 one, because that one Lee Kuan Yew died. Right? Was that the one?
2015?
Oh, 2015. Yeah. 2015 he
September,
died.
right?
Then I think it was September or October. Yeah, I think it's September.
Can't remember.
Because he died close to his birthday, I remember, like one day before his birthday or something like that. So
he would have made it.
With the exception of that one, all the past, like, I think 4 or 5 election cycles were June, May, June, July.
I feel like it's so fast though. Like, was it really 4 years ago? Oh my
Yes,
god, where did
yes.
time go, yeah?
Then now the thing is, there's also announcement said that Lawrence Wong will take over before National Day.
Yes, this year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's soon. Because
So-
July,
So
Yeah.
there's like two ways of looking at it. Either you call the GE now before the National Day, and then after that try to like artificially pad up Lawrence Wong as someone, because don't forget, Lee Hsien Loong has a very high favorability rating in his own GRC. He's like 80
He's
something.
the PM, no one's gonna vote him
Yeah.
out.
No, but I mean, you say that, but it's very loose face, right? If you don't get the sufficient amount of votes,
Yeah.
right? His is like the high 70, I think almost 80%.
yeah,
So Lawrence Wong have like big shoes to fill, right?
Which GRC is Lawrence Wong in? I can't remember
I
right
can't
now.
remember also. Somewhere
Okay,
in the
you all go
north,
ahead.
yeah. So there's like two ways of looking at it, right? Either they call it before the announcement, and then try to like artificially pad out Lawrence Wong's favorability, then after that get him to be prime minister, or announce him to be prime minister, then see where he stands. It's like one of it is a softer, more like conservative move, like trying to like bubble wrap their MPs, and the other one, right, is like throw you out in the ocean, you sink or swim. Okay, now from what I see, all this scandal, whatever that's happening, right, I think they will go with the safer option. I think if it was in the past, right, before like what's that speaker guy that had the affair?
Tan Chuan Jin.
Tan Chuan Jin, like before Tan Chuan Jin, before Iswaran, I think they would have just been, okay, Lawrence Wong, we need to send you to the wolves now with a sharp pointy stick. You need to fend them off. On top of all this scandal, no, we bubble wrap you, give you a golden bridge to your prime ministership. So I'm going to say this year, I think July will be the latest lah.
So
It's like really fast, but I'm just gonna randomly bet. By the way, all the bets that have been placed on LKK, I've been 100% wrong on all of them. Okay, I've been 100% wrong on all of them. So don't follow my bet.
Yeah, I mean the last day that they have to call snap elections was November 25, 2025.
yeah,
Oh, November 23, 2025. Sorry, yeah,
Huh?
the actual last day.
2023.
No, November 23 November 2025 is the
Okay.
last day they have since the
Okay.
2020 election to call an election. So anytime between now and the end of 2025, they can call an election. So actually, my personal question was, will they call it this year, or will they call it next year? I think probably this year lah.
So Lawrence Wong is the MP for Marsiling UT GRC since 2015.
Which is not that long ago.
Previously.
Previously, he was at the Boon Lay division of West Coast GRC.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, according to Wikipedia.
That's surprisingly
My-
not that long ago.
Yeah,
if you think about it.
two terms only.
I feel like I don't know actually. I feel like it's probably going to be before he steps up. Yeah. So probably July or something. But I think July is too soon, right? Too late. Maybe in June.
Okay,
They
so you're
won't reach-
June, then I'm July. Okay.
They won't risk the 10% GST lashback for next. Is there a 10%
Wait,
next year?
are they changing? No, right? They're not.
No,
they're not
they
raising
are,
10.
like, I think they are pushing it back, right, for the foreseeable future. They cannot 10% now. They'll die, man.
Fuck,
Can-
man.
can I just talk
9% is so
about-
jialat already.
Can I just talk about now how I have just stopped eating at restaurants now? Because
Yeah.
it's so expensive.
Yeah.
Like did I talk about this the last time?
No.
I went to this restaurant because I was feeling real depressed, and then I ordered like a main and then a drink, and because after the meal I was still feeling real depressed, then I ordered a cheesecake.
And you look at the bill,
So-
you're even more depressed.
Yeah, because I wanted to eat my depression away, and then when the bill came, I was just like, oh my god, like almost 20% GST plus service charge, and it came out to like 30 plus just for me alone,
Yeah.
eating alone, sadly.
By the way, just as a tag on and just to tell you a bit, counter you a bit. Do you remember like late last year when like around December, right? Everyone was just like, oh, you know, you want to do your flooring, right? You want to do your renovation, right? Book with us now. Make your down payment now to prevent the increase in GST, paying the GST next year.
I remember people were like mass buying like electronic stuff.
Yeah,
and then like storing it at a warehouse or I don't know or what lah, or holding it until their renovations. Like they bought the electronics even before the renovations
So
was done.
to give you some context, okay, if you bought the electronics, right, you bought $100 toaster, okay, and there was before it was 8% GST, right? So it's $108.
Yeah.
Then now, right, the GST increase, it's $109.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's not it though. Like it's not just the GST increase. I'm talking about food lah. I don't know about electronics, so I haven't looked at the prices. The food prices have also increased a lot.
Yeah, but that one nothing to do with GST.
I mean,
Yeah, I know the food price. Yeah.
It's their excuse to raise the prices.
Yeah,
lah.
I
Inflation,
mean, we have said this before, right? It's like, we need to increase the price of food by 50% to justify a 1% increase of GST. We've complained about this, like especially with drinks. I think the drink store the most egregious one because that represents like one of the bigger percentages jump.
You know what I've done nowadays? Ya-Kun has raised their prices so much. It's like now $6.70.
Nonsense.
I think they changed it already.
Yeah, before
come
that it was
down?
like $5
I think they
plus.
came down a bit.
I don't know. I haven't like the last time I ate
There was
a
a
couple of weeks
boycott.
ago.
There was a boycott organized by netizens.
Oh really?
I would just
I was not
go.
aware of the
I would just
boycott.
not go anyway.
Yeah, but I went there, I ordered, and then I was like $6.70. The fuck. So what I've been doing now is that I just bring my vacuum flask downstairs to the kopitiam, and I'm just making my own. Like fuck it. Why? It's so sad.
No, and shit. What was I gonna say? I was gonna say something that I forgot. Milk and eggs. Milk and eggs are always an indicator, right? So eggs, the prices kind of stabilize, like $3.70 for a dozen. Sometimes you go for a more expensive one, it'd be like $4.10 for 10 eggs, so it's 41 cents. Right? But milk is fucking ridiculous, man. So previously, right, milk has been steadily going up since late 2022, right? Before the 8% came in, milk has been going up. Then throughout 2023, it's gone up steadily, and then now 2024, going on 9%. Milk is at I think previously it was like $6.50 or $6.40 for 2 liters. Now it's very close to 7. Or over 7 if you buy 2 liters separately. If you buy 2 liters together, usually they give you a package rate like $6.80. So it's like it's like a good 50 to 60 cents increment. And the worst thing, right, is from last year, the 8% until 9%, right, the price has not increased. But then guess what happened? You're no longer getting 1 liter of milk. You're getting 978 ml.
You know what they call this?
Shrinkflation.
Yeah, they call this.
Yeah.
In fact, right, like I did this whole thing on my Instagram about Ferrero Rochers. About the shrinkflation of Ferrero Rochers, where the size of it has like actually shrunk. Okay, anyways, but talking about boycotts, right? Something funny happened recently. My dad came back with a bag of McDonald's, and he was very excited. He said, "Hey, it got offer the meal is like $5 or something like that." And he bought like a McChicken meal. And I told him, I said, it's probably because nobody's eating McDonald's nowadays. He's like, why? Because he doesn't know about the boycott for Palestine, right? Because he's like a fucking Chinese uncle boomer. So I said, okay, people are boycotting because of Palestine. He's like, is it? Then of course he's replied, like, wow, then we should buy now because it's very cheap. But the thing is, right, I opened up the wrapper. I'm very happy that they went back to the paper wrapper actually instead of the box, right? But I opened up the wrapper because I haven't eaten McDonald's in years, not because of boycotting or whatever, but I just generally don't eat it a lot. The burger shrunk. Yeah. It's so small, and then the patty is so skinny. I was like, what the fuck is this shit?
It's very small. Yeah, every damn
I was so
thing shrunk.
shocked. And then the fries, right? They give so little fries.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Dad, actually you're not really paying for a discount because look at how tiny this burger is. Like from the years ago memory of me biting into a burger, and then the current day, like I chomp into it, like it's completely doesn't even make my mouth stretch basically.
It's a bit sad. It's a bit sad, but
anyways,
it's real. The shrinkflation thing is real.
Yeah. No,
I just recalled like a topic that we can delve into if you want. Like
Sure.
but you want to have the last word about your shrinkflation first.
Oh, okay. I got nothing more to say about shrinkflation, but I want to talk about conflicts because the Kellogg CEO recently came out and did this boo-boo about, like, he said, oh, if your groceries are too expensive, don't worry, you can eat cereal for dinner, which is very much like a, let them have cake kind of statement, right? So people have been boycotting Kellogg's. All forms of Kellogg's conflicts because they are like them tulan at what he said. And apparently this boycott is happening for the first financial quarter of 2024. And then after that, they're moving on to the next target. But currently, there's all sorts of videos of how, like, in the supermarkets, like, Kellogg conflicts are not moving. And then so the supermarkets are having, like, giant sales, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So, that's what I wanted to talk about, conflict.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember this one? The very controversial take. Please skip if you are.
I have no idea what it is.
No,
Oh, you've
idea
never
what's
seen
going
this?
on. No, never.
Holy shit!
I was very busy the whole of last 2 weeks, so I have no idea what's
Oh my
going on.
god. I thought you were terminally online, Angie.
Only for some time.
Okay, the
some things.
actual post has been deleted.
But what is the gist of it?
Okay, so I can't show the thing, but okay. Are you guys familiar with the Reddit page Singapore Raw?
Yeah, I'm there sometimes.
Yeah. So this one is the uncensored, unfiltered, really like down in the trenches Singapore Reddit page, which is unlike the /Singapore page, which is super fucking sanitized to the point where even like 10,000 karma, you still cannot post anything on. And I've tried. I got 10,000 karma and I still cannot post anything. Okay, I can only read the post in /Singapore, but I can post and I can say things in Singapore Raw. So Singapore Raw came up with some guy in Singapore Raw posted this, basically saying that the Malay Muslim community in Singapore being very contentious about the Israel-Gaza conflict to the point where it has like spilled over very much into real life with their boycotts and their very aggressive takes lah. Okay. And this has caused the Redditor to conclude that Lee Kuan Yew was right, that they should not include Malay Muslims into the upper echelons of the army. And this is like they
So he's
display
justifying lah.
they display loyalty to religion over nationality. So this was the post
Okay.
made over there. I can't believe you guys haven't read or like seen it, but okay. So
I think
It's not a new take.
it's not a new thing.
It's not a new take.
Yeah.
I've heard of this before, like, a long time ago. I do want to say that I have met a lot of Muslim Malay members in the uniform, and the take that they have seems to be very nuanced, but a lot of them do kind of follow the official stance of the government. Not just because their jobs depend on it, but also because I think they do kind of believe that both sides do have responsibility in this. It's not a one-sided thing. It does tend to seem to me that the people who are slightly more religious seems to be the one who do follow more along with the whatever is out there, that the material that Hamas put out. So I don't know, man.
It's a bit more. But Angie, you want to voice your opinion first before I continue?
I think like most of the people I know condemn both Hamas and Palestine.
Hamas and Palestine.
Hamas and Israel. Most of the people I know, I know there are fringe takes where people are saying, like, defending Hamas and saying that, they are resistance fighters, blah, blah, blah. I don't think that's like a majority take, at least that I know of.
Yep.
And most people are calling for ceasefire, which is an entirely logical thing to ask for, the stopping the killing of civilians, right? And I think that's unhinged lah.
What's unhinged? You like the take that Malay Muslims shouldn't be in the upper echelon of.
Yeah.
Yeah, feels that way. Because if they are, if they're entering the force, a lot of times, right? Like if you have situations where you have a rank officer who's going into a role, the amount of clearance that they do is quite a lot. So it's not gonna be anyone who applies can get in, So granted that we always like to see SAF as this, bumbling idiot kind of military organization, right? Because we have a lot of friends, especially in the older generation, who's like, hey, they're not very educated, but then they got to join SAF. Still, some warrant officers like that, some warrant officers, thankfully they're being retired, but some warrant officers, right, PSLE, then they become like senior sergeants and whatnot, but that's from the 80s. But yeah, it's not true lah. SAF do, as far as I know, they do take it very seriously. Like whoever is getting up there in ranks, they do have a lot of psychological evaluations.
I think the other thing is also the fact that, like, if you always treat Malay Muslims as outsiders in their own country, you're not fostering a sense of loyalty to your own country, which then may increase the sense of extremism, because it's like, why the fuck should I have loyalty when you don't even like take me as a natural, give me the same rights of a citizen as like a Chinese person or Indian person or Eurasian person or whoever that is a natural citizen? Just because I'm Malay Muslim, automatically I'm a terrorist? No, it's like fucking bullshit. And I say it's a chicken and egg thing. I think you need
maybe
to...
not quite to the extent of like terrorists.
Yeah, I mean, you know what I mean? Like that
as in...
You are afraid that
like
they might compromise Singapore's safety.
The security and safety.
Yeah, the security and safety. Just because they're Malay. I think that's just fucking stupid, honestly. Traitors come in all shapes and forms.
I mean, it is a very gross
look at the Panadol guy, Chinese Singaporean, sold his country out for Panadol.
Yeah, I mean, it is a very gross generalization. So one of the other things that was like highlighted in the post also, that these activities, right, when you like boycott this, boycott that, has noticeable economical effects, and that by performing such activities, like companies that may want to set up shop in Singapore will take note of such things, and that it could have long-term negative repercussions on like certain like economic growth or whatever lah. Further, in addition, there's such resentment, right? There's such like stirring up of negative emotions within Singapore, undermines the social fabric that we have. In that, it becomes very polarized. So what is happening now is that, you eat McDonald's, you must be pro-genocide. Like if someone says that to your dad, right? It's like, wow, your dad is, so your whole family is pro-genocide. Like, okay, it might be a bit of a stretch. Okay, I agree. I'm like kind of
the
like
genocide burger.
Yeah, I'm kind of like straw manning it, but this is a sentiment that is like pretty real, right? Like people do feel strongly enough about it to the point where they are attaching values to even your neutrality or your lack of action. So
silence is violence.
Yeah, this is the silence is violence thing, right? So yeah, thoughts.
Well, I mean, again, I think actually, I'm not sure. I feel like in my circle, and I'm in very activisty circles, meaning that people are people who are very...
I'm just creating new words in the Longkang all the time. Holy shit.
Why not? Like, who's stopping me from creating new words? Is there a law that prevents me from creating new words in the Longkang? But anyways, I think I'm in circles that can be very liberal and very pro-Palestine, but I don't think I've seen people say that if you eat McDonald's, you support genocide. I've only seen, at least in the whole time of this, since October 7th or whatever, I've only seen people say that, we are boycotting because this. If you support, if you want to support the cause, please join us in the boycott. I've never seen anyone say that.
It's mostly online. I'll have to say that it's predominantly online, usually anonymous accounts.
Yeah.
Like, for example, on, let's say, McDonald's has an ad on TikTok, right? Then it's like, wow, the whole fucking comment section is just bombarded.
I mean, but if you want to say online, I can also say that, like, I've seen posts where people defend it. Like even Malay Muslim people will say that you don't have to join us in the boycott. We are boycotting because we want to boycott. You know, like, I mean, there are same people who are defending it also out there. So, I mean, like, if you want to take the most extreme comments on the internet and take it as like a reflection of the society around you, I'll just say like, go fucking touch some grass. Like the majority of, at least I've not seen it in the streets. I've not seen it anywhere. I've not seen people screaming at other people saying that, you know, if like screaming outside McDonald's going like, oh my God, you fucking genocide support. I have not seen any of that. So I think it's just like, you are taking all the extreme points and then mapping it onto the larger society, which I again think it's hysteria because of, I don't know.
Jerry, you got anything? Both sides are wrong.
No. But like,
All sides are wrong.
Yeah, all sides are wrong for sure. But you know, at the core of it, I think it's gone to a point where I have my hot takes on the situation, which I don't think is fair to share on this podcast because.
What?
Yeah, no.
Hang on. Do you want to hear his hot take?
Let's not.
Yes, hot takes.
Yeah, let's not go
Jerry's
there.
hot take.
This
Hot takes from the fence.
This Longkang is just full of hot takes, bro.
Yeah, well,
It's so hot that my ass is sweating.
the hottest of the hot takes, if you want me to be honest, is
Of course.
the Gaza-Israeli conflict is really a regional conflict. The only reason why it's gotten so much optics on it is because there are a lot of
International players.
It's basically a proxy war being fought out by the larger powers, and we are all just suckered into thinking that this is a much bigger cause than it is. I'm not saying that the people suffering there is, you know, is of no consequence. Obviously, they're suffering. They've been suffering for a long time, you know. But if you take a look on it, right, like it's really a regional conflict, and is it gonna affect the rest of the world? In a way, yes. Right, but not as badly as the outcome of the Ukraine-Russian war is going to affect the rest of the world. Yeah, I do think that there are much bigger things at play that, you know, is kind of being overcrowded. There's a lot of information in the information space, and as an individual, it's very difficult to sift through all of them. And if people decide one day that, you know, fuck it, I'm not gonna care about whatever. You know, I'm just going to live however I want. As long as it's not hurting anyone else, I don't give a fuck. You know, and I think that's a legitimate way to move forward in your own life. You know, otherwise, if not, right, you're just gonna be crying over one crisis to the next crisis, and how are you gonna be the third, you know, most happy nation in Asia if you keep doing that?
So what you're saying is people should just live on one side of the fence, and then I live on my side of the fence. Is that what you're saying, Jerry?
Just be a fence.
I'll live on the fence and see everything, but not do anything.
I would say that, okay, yeah, you can say that it's a regional conflict, but it's a regional conflict that has a lot of importance on the international stage.
Yes, because the people who want it to be are putting it on the pedestal to tell you it's important.
Not just that, like it's also like a focusing point of like how all the different countries are reacting, right? Like, so for example, in the past, I would never have imagined that South Africa would be the country to take Israel to ICJ, right? Like South Africa has never been like a huge player internationally on politics. And they've never really taken...
By the way, they also have a terrible track record on like human rights violation.
But the thing is, right, you're seeing different players come to the forefront because of this Israel-Palestine conflict.
Yeah, it's an opportunity.
Using it as an opportunity to stand up against Western hegemony. I was watching the Malaysian, what is it? Anwar scold like Germany for their take on what's going on right now, and I was like,
no, because okay, here's the thing: this is exactly why it's hilarious. So Germany is on Israel's side, firmly on Israel's side,
they are
right?
like so deeply entrenched in
part of the reasons,
like Israel.
Part of the reasons why is because if the charges in South Africa brought to the ICJ, right, if it goes through, then it basically tells the whole world that every damn thing can be genocide.
Yeah.
right? That's the thing.
No, that's not.
But okay.
No, hang on. I want to make something very clear.
Okay.
So South Africa has submitted a bunch of quotes given by the Israeli politicians, okay, to say that they have the to prove genocide, right? You must have not just mens rea, but you must have something else special tacked on top of mens rea. Mens rea is the intention to commit the crime. You must have something called dolus specialis, okay, which
What is
is
that?
one is like a super special intent. It's like a super special notion. Really, I'm not joking.
You know,
Yeah.
the thing is, right, like I was trying to figure out what is the definition of genocide, and I was going online. I was like, how many people must you kill to make a genocide?
Yeah. Okay. No, but this actually that's a very good question.
Yeah.
Because
There was no definitive
there is no
answer.
because what? Okay. To put it as succinctly as I can, you can kill 1,000 people and be labeled as a genocide because of dolus specialis, and then you can nuke the entire Gaza and not be genocide because
for
it is not
example,
dolus specialis.
Is it so? For example, right? If let's say I kill 1,000 specifically Chinese people because they are Chinese,
Yeah. So
that's a genocide.
something
but
like
if
that.
I kill 1,000 people just randomly because they happen to be there,
They happen to be that. Yeah.
and I
Then-
just wanted that land.
and not even 1,000. You can kill 50,000 of them.
Okay, let's say I killed 50,000, and it was like, well, you were there, you were in the way. I didn't mean to kill you.
Yes, correct.
But you know, so I guess that's
So
which is why up till now I've not called it a genocide because I don't understand
so
what
under,
actually a
un-
genocide is. I just call it a massacre.
Yeah, under the international law, genocide is very, very specific. So you need something called dolus specialis, and this is what the South Africa case was trying to demonstrate. Because actually they don't have access to military records. They don't know what is the modus operandi for how the IDF
How they
conducts
are
its
taking why they are killing them, right?
Yeah, they don't have access to what is called a proportionality report, which is to say that you can it's not that you are immune from killing civilians. It's that in order to kill civilians, they have to be accidental and they have to be proportional to what your military objective is.
I read through the ICJ document a couple months ago when that was happening, right? And one part I didn't really understand and I couldn't find an answer to was the fact that ICJ instructed Israel, if I'm not wrong, to not destroy any evidence.
Yeah.
So then, to me, it's like, does Israel submit its own evidence for the ICJ to trial
like
them?
that.
They have to, right? They have to.
something like that.
Because
But how do you make sure that it's actual evidence and not some shit that they made up?
Usually, my understanding of this, right, is that if, let's say, for example, somebody wants to conduct an airstrike on this, like, let's say on property A, okay? So then you must have a reason for the airstrike, okay? So somebody says, okay, we believe that there's like 100 Hamas fighters inside this property A. Then, okay, where did you get this information from? Is this information credible? Is this information, like from an actual source, or what is it? What is the source of the information? Somebody then after that must do a proportionality report. How many civilians are inside? Is it like 100 civilians? Is it 200 civilians? Is it 1,000 civilians?
Then my question is that how do you know whether they are Hamas fighters or not? Like you could just take a civilian and be like, that's a Hamas fighter. That's a terrorist right there.
That is where the intelligence report needs to be credible. So there is like a lot of steps involved. Like basically, it's a whole command chain from the intelligence of it to the military operation, and then even lawyers must get involved. International lawyers, lawyers who are expert in international law, must take a look at the proportionality report and sign off on it and say that okay, I think this one should be kosher. Okay?
Okay.
In most cases, if the evidence, when you destroy evidence, right, usually it's very obvious that you destroy evidence. If you tamper with evidence, you have to be you have to be some like next level mastermind to like tamper evidence until all your dates all align, all your facts, everything is like 100% in agreement with each other. You cannot have any leaks, you cannot have any whistleblowers, you cannot have any person that just steps out of line. Like everything must be prim and proper. Usually it doesn't happen. And then usually in this kind of cases, a lack of evidence, if you just simply destroy the evidence, you are found to be guilty of the most extreme part of it.
It's like you didn't tap out of your EasyLink and then
Yeah, they just charge you.
for
Yes,
money.
that's a perfect example.
Basically.
Yeah. So okay, back to the ICJ, the South Africa case. They are just trying to demonstrate dolus specialis with the quotes from the Israeli politicians. So they are dragging out quotes saying that we're going to break their backs, they're going to animals, whatever. Upon the court's revision of the, I think it's like 40 something pages or something like that, the court says that this particular document is in fact not well-founded. I believe that was the term that they used. It's not well-founded, and the prima facie of it, okay, so prima facie is a very specific legal term. On the surface level of the evidence being presented, there is no dolus specialis identified. So therefore, they don't classify it as genocide as of yet. Okay, things may change as a result of, let's say, the IDF.
How long does it usually take then? Like a couple of years, right?
I mean, this
it's
one.
like years and years and years.
My understanding is the Serbian-Croatia thing where the Serbs were committing genocide. That one, the court case was like 16 years.
Yeah.
So like, okay, the thing is, right, like the whole point of them wanting to get the ICJ to say that it is a genocide is to stop and have a ceasefire, right?
They wanted the ICJ to, on the surface of it, declare that there is dolus specialis, that the genocide is going on, and that the international community, without the UN, should force Israel into a unilateral ceasefire. That means it's a one-sided ceasefire.
But the thing is, like, even if like they want to challenge it, right? It goes up to one more like superior court or whatever, and they're like the.
What do you mean? Sorry, who wants to challenge it?
If you want to challenge the ICJ, I think there is like a court of appeals, right? Is there not?
Right now, this one is just pre-trial motion.
No, I'm saying that if they do want to do it, there is like appeals court that they
the appeal is only after verdict has been given. But this is not a verdict. The ICJ is not saying that Israel is not committing genocide. The ICJ is saying, as of now, the surface level evidence that's been given does not meet the requirement of dolus specialis.
So basically, there is no movement to like call for ceasefire. I mean, they did say ceasefire or do not commit excessive like civilian deaths or something like that, right?
They are just basically saying, hey, Israel, don't commit genocide, don't accidentally commit genocide.
Don't be a naughty boy.
Basically,
but yeah, so anyways, like I was just fucking confused by the whole like motion to do it, because it seems to me that even if they did say that it's a genocide, there's really nothing that Israel needs to heed or like do anything to.
Actually,
because they're not listening to anybody.
Actually, no. The ICJ one, right, is of particular importance. If you violate the ICJ, which is what Russia did, upon the quote-unquote special military operation, that's when all the sanctions can all start to hit. So the ICJ did make a ruling saying that the war is illegal, you cannot continue to invade. And then they continue to invade, then that's when you don't need a UN resolution anymore.
But they're still invading though.
They're still invading, but then all the countries now have free rein to enact sanctions onto Russia.
Which they have done.
Yeah, without... that means it's a unilateral thing. There doesn't need to be any consensus.
But I'm just saying that the fact that is that, yes, you can have sanctions, but unless somebody is willing to go to war, which I don't think anybody is willing to go to war, there's nothing really that you can.
So, for example, if let's say the ICJ found that dolus specialis prima facie met, they call for ceasefire, Israel refuse, the whole world can just issue sanctions, and even the United States cannot do anything about it.
Yeah, I know, which is what is happening to Russia. But the thing is, it doesn't actually stop them if they want to continue. That's what I'm saying. There's no force on the world that can stop, unless you send in like another country or I don't know, United Forces to freaking attack Russia, so right? Like there's nothing to compel them to stop. If
that was the case, like I believe in the Rwanda genocide.
Yeah, between the Hutu and the Tutsis, you mean?
They did eventually send in UN peacekeeping forces. Am I right to say that, Jerry?
Yeah. They did. Yeah.
So, because that one was found to be a genocide,
how many people died? Do you know?
1 million in like 1 week or something.
Yeah. So do we have to wait until like it's 1 million people?
No, that's the thing. It's not about the numbers. It's the dolus specialis. That's the... So one of the things like the Rwanda, the case, right? What I believe one of the factors in the court case was I think was it whichever the tribe was the one that's doing the genocide, right? They actually had practice runs to kill people, right? They have they went door to door and then they did a practice run, which is why the Rwanda genocide is to date still the fastest genocide ever committed.
I did not know that fact.
Yeah, they are so efficient at killing because they have went through special trial runs to commit the genocide. No, I'm not joking. This was part of the.
I'm not laughing because you're joking. I'm laughing because in my head I was like, oh, okay, I guess practice makes perfect.
This one is they took a page out of the Singapore playbook. Okay, efficiency. Okay, how to effectively run your people.
I was actually looking up brainwashing techniques by I think the Japanese government before they invaded like other countries, and then they were like trying to brainwash the Japanese about like, you know, dehumanizing their opponents and having them like practice on how to kill people. Anyways, why are we talking about this?
I don't know why we have gone there, but yeah.
But okay, my original point is that what I'm just observing basically. I think it's very interesting because of the boycotts, right? A lot of them are mega Western corporations, like for example Starbucks, like for example McDonald's. And what's happening instead of going to all these like franchises is that people are supporting like, you know, their local
the Japanese brands or the local brands,
whatever
Asian brands.
So I think like what this means, right, is that there could be if this persists beyond, and as people cultivate habits of not going to, you know, like chain restaurants or whatever, is that it could be that there would be a decrease of Western influence, basically, where people, you know, shop local and then or regional and decrease our dependence on like Western MNCs, which I mean you could say that yes, maybe it will
it's not necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah, it might prevent Western MNCs from coming, but what's there to stop regional and local enterprises from rising up to meet the demand? Because people are still going to buy stuff, people are still going to spend money anyways, right? So I think this is what I think is very interesting coming from here, because it is very much like a global south banding together sort of thing, I guess.
My only contention to that, right, is that typically, I mean, just even me as a small business owner, 小老板, a small boss, right? The way that I look at it is not that, oh, there's a gap in the market for me to exploit. The way that I will look at it is more long term, which is that at any given time, at the drop of a hat, my business could be boycotted because of some obscure belief or some like tenuous connection that I may have. So this will create, I mean, short term definitely there's like boon for like people for sure there's winners and losers in this situation short term, but long term, you tend to be more careful in terms of like what you promote, because what is fashionable today will be reviled tomorrow, and that you just tend to keep your cards close to your heart, like like things that you might want to support that you suddenly you feel like maybe I shouldn't.
I think like there was this local brand called Beyond the Vines that got into a bit of trouble because the owner was making some comments, very off the cuff comments about like Palestinian children, and she was I guess being very flippant about it on one of the live on TikTok or something, and then people took issue, and then there was a whole boycott, and everybody was like showing off that, you know, they are selling or throwing their BTV bags, and then for a while like Carousel was flooded with bags from this brand. But you know what? After a while, like they were doing a new launch of like their products and it sold out. And the thing about this brand is that I think they had a lot of Muslim, Malay supporters, and you know, like I don't know whether there is an actual fallout from the brand, but I think like a lot of it is also about like how fickle consumers are, because a lot of times nowadays when we have such short attention spans, people forget, you know, and then they just move on to the next trending topic.
It's just like football supporters, man. One day, you know, this footballer on your team scores a goal and he's a hero. Then the next week, you know, he gets a red card and then he's like hated by everyone. You know,
basically, it's a sports team mentality.
It's just
people
are fickle.
I guess the thing is like if you are not media trained or you just don't fucking give comments about these kind of issues lah. Just if you're selling a bag, just sell the fucking bag lah. Just shut up about like
100%.
trending topics.
I 100% agree.
Here's the
with
thing:
that,
it's not when you're selling a bag or you're selling food or whatever, you just sell the fucking thing. But it's you want to do it. But sometimes your consumers are the one that force you. Hey, take a stand. If you don't say this, we're not going to buy. And what are you going to do as a business owner? What are you going to do as someone who's selling these things? Can you just say,
typically, unless you are okay. For example, this beyond the veil, the bags. Let's say the leather is like made from some Israeli cow that only can be, that only this particular Jewish kosher cow can produce this particular leather. Then I would say that maybe you have to say something about it. But for most businesses, generally you don't have to say much lah. Without the connection, you typically don't have to say much. And I guess the wider point here being, actually, when this kind of thing happens, right? When you like do boycotts and then you kind of like have you kind of like spend your money where ideology lies. The danger in that, right, is that you create shadow economies or you create like parallel economies, which is a bit like what's happening in the US, right? Like people on the left. I will only watch CNN. I will only buy this pillow from this guy. I'm not going to buy this other pillow from this right winger. I'm not going to stay in this hotel that's owned by Trump or partially owned by Trump. And then the right wingers have their own like separate thing.
Yeah.
And then you create like parallel economies, which is functionally no good for anybody lah. Like it doesn't really benefit people. And for a lot of for some services you want diversity, you want like more options. But for a lot of services, actually, you don't want too many options. Like, Angie, if I were to put like 5 shampoos in front of you, like, you will be happier with that than if I put 1,000 shampoos in front of you.
That's basically like decision paralysis, which is the problem that I have when I go downstairs. I have 4 kopitiams in my area, but
I
there's
also have
only
4 kopitiams in my area.
2 stalls that I eat from, and one of them collapsed. So now I only have 1 stall to eat from, even though I have 4 kopitiams in my area.
There's only 1 kopitiam downstairs, so I don't have a choice.
Yeah, but I think like I'm half and half. I think you can choose to boycott.
Hang on. Okay.
Are we like lagging?
Yes. No, Jerry. Okay, you're half and half. Go, please.
What?
Voiceover.
I'm half and half, and therefore like I like to buy half and buy another half, and then because it's half, right? Then I like to go halvesies with the shoulders. Yeah, but anyways, for those of you on audio, like we are basically just switching to Jerry's face every time we talk about like half and halvesies, okay? Yeah. But I think like you can choose to do that, but also you have to recognize that there's at some point as a consumer that you are in a capitalist society that like it's just inevitable that you support some form of travesty or inequality or whatever, right? Like the iPhone that you're using, they had minerals mined from the Congo where like child slaves are used, and you're not going to stop like buying.
And there's
the
a
iPhone.
conflict going on in Congo now.
Yeah, exactly.
There's rebels like displacing 1 million people in don't know
So
which.
I think like
there's conflict going on in the entire stretch of Western Africa. Like 5-6 countries all getting coups and whatnot together.
So.
Yeah, but I would say that you can do as much as you can if possible, if that's a thing that's important to you. But at the same time, like don't get too fucking high and mighty about it, because whatever that you're doing in this day and age, unless you're farming your own food, you're making your own materials from clothes that you with cotton that you planted yourself. There's just like no escaping.
You can't escape the
injustice,
interconnectivity.
I think it's just like doing your best with what you can. Like it's like saying that people must support fair trade organic clothing when some people might not have the resources to. They can only afford to buy clothes from Shein or whatever, right? So I think you just do your best about it and don't like be a
don't be a prick.
Yeah, don't be a prick. Don't like go and show off to other people.
Don't tell me how morally superior you are because you stop eating fucking prosperity burgers.
Yeah, so I think unless you're a hermit living in the woods, subsisting off your own like labor and sweat, then okay lah. Then you can condescend to me, okay? You can condescend to me. I will take that.
Yeah. Fair enough. Okay. This stream has gone on for
it's
almost
like fucking 3
hours.
hours. Oh my God.
Yes.
I want my prosperity burger.
Me too. Prosperity Burger, please come back every day.
Is it not back?
No, it's gone.
Gone already.
Oh,
Chinese New Year
I
gone
don't know.
already.
I don't eat
It's
McDonald's.
right now it's like a chicken paprika burger, which we had yesterday. It's not. It's okay. It's okay.
Holy shit! Are you supporting genocide?
Maybe.
I'm just gonna say that, like, just for me, I don't eat McDonald's because I don't think the quality is very good anymore. And every time I eat it, I have like a very bad reaction to it. I don't buy Zara clothes because Zara clothes are high street, are Shane quality but sold at high street prices. So I'm just saying that, you know.
Holy shit!
Yeah.
Are you in this Semite?
You can accuse anybody of anything.
I will happily do. Okay.
Yeah.
I am the both sidism that Jerry could never be, because Jerry is, I understand both sides, but for
So-
me is I antagonize both sides. That is my goal. in
Jerry
life.
is like, nobody is genocide supporter, nobody is anti-Semite, and then everybody is a
everybody is a
genocider.
genocide supporter.
Everybody is an anti-Semite. Great.
Everything is genocidal. Everything is sexist. Everything is racist. Everything is anti-Semite. Okay.
You know how we should end this? We should end this with radical acceptance. Just accept people for who they
I
are.
radically accept
Nothing.
genociders. I
Yeah.
love genocide. We should. Because if you don't accept genocide, then there's going to be even bigger genocide. We're going to kill people who are going to colonize the moon and Mars if we don't genocide them now on Earth. That's just facts.
I don't understand what you're
That's
saying.
just facts.
Well,
You're just
let's-
putting words together.
Can I just say, I don't support genocide, but we are we are don't forget that we are a product of genocide.
Huh? What?
Evolutionarily speaking, we outcompeted
Oh
the
my
Neanderthals.
Bro,
god.
that's not a genocide.
That's a genocide.
That's not
Bro.
a genocide. What? I don't know
Bro,
what you're talking about.
that's like, oh, we are all actually pro-rape deep down inside, because one of my great-great-great-great-great-grandfather was a soldier who raped like some poor woman in some unknown village. So deep down inside, right? Deep down, Angie, okay? You
Yeah.
are pro-rape, okay?
Okay. Sure.
Jesus. Stop it, Jerry. Stop it. Okay. You all got any last words? Anything else?
Do you know that some species of animals pretend to be, like female animals pretend to be dead to ward off rapists?
Not rapists, lah.
Like male rapists.
Male
unwanted
sexual
sexual advances,
advances.
yeah.
Yes.
Okay, that's all I have. Goodbye, everybody.
Jerry?
I'm good.
Should we catch a cat and then show them on camera?
No, I don't know where they are.
Oh no, we are like cat torturers.
Yeah, I don't know where they are.
Oh well.
All right.
For now, you don't get to see the cat, but then
Sad.
you just get the rest of us. And with that shall be the end of today's show. Thank you very much for listening in. Please like, share, comment, subscribe.
Bye.
Join our Discord. Find us on TikTok. Look for us on IG. Facebook, fuck it lah. Can
You
you all
know
stop
what?
supporting the Facebook stuff? Oh my god, I fucking hate Facebook.
I hate IG.
Is
Join
it?
us on TikTok, yes.
like all of them.
Why you hate IG?
Because IG is really okay. Like Facebook is almost useless for us in terms of
there's
advertisement.
there's no promotional element. to it.
IG is near useless to us because they really throttle views unless you pay for advertisement, which is sad. You know, I don't mind paying for a subscription, but I don't want to pay for an advertisement. I think it's unfair to treat your creators this way and throttle the views of people who subscribe to you just because you want to earn money, because we are the ones who keep like non-content creators on the platform. We are the ones that power your platform. Okay, fucking Meta.
I guess I'm anti-woke then, because I'm using a lot of X recently.
And by the way, there is this new thing, semi-new thing that IG has pushed
What,
out
threads?
recently. No, nobody fucking gives a shit about threads, okay?
And she fucking aggro about threads, yeah. Holy shit.
No, there's this new thing. If you go into your content preferences, there is this new tab that they've instituted, which is like political content. And you need to turn it on if you want to see more political content, because they are throttling it down. So if you don't turn it on, you're not going to see political stuff, which is what we do. And therefore, unless you are really, really always interacting with our platform, you won't really get to see us on your feed. Okay, you're gonna get like sponsored posts, and you're gonna see like posts from people who have shops who want you to buy things so that Meta can earn the revenue. So that's why Meta fucking sucks. And
Okay, so
Yeah.
just long story short, just look for us on TikTok and Discord. Okay, these are the only
also
two.
YouTube.
YouTube.
Yeah.
Subscribe to us on YouTube.
Yeah.
Please
It's okay.
subscribe to us. We are like quite close to the monetization threshold. The
Are we?
bottleneck is the subscribers. We need like
Okay,
another
yeah.
230 subscribers.
Please
or
come and
something.
leave nasty comments.
Just subscribe and then just like
Yeah.
forget about it forever and just like don't care about it.
Yeah. How
Okay.
terrible are we at like promoting ourselves?
No,
Very
we are,
terrible.
we are fantastic. We
Yeah.
are good. Okay, and with that shall be all. See you. Goodbye.
Bye. Come closer.